He brushes the falling ash off of the loaf instinctually. It's almost like a ritual now. It will never touch the bread, and he knows that, but that doesn't stop him. The young apprentice strides onwards from the single-floor shop, dancing on the wafting scents of hot, freshly baked bread. A knife ready in his apron's holster just in case. He's never had to use it, but he knows better than to trust the short reach of small minds. He fears the steady hand of one who might have a hidden blade, armed too with the knowledge to wield it. And for more than the repetitive slicing of thin, meek loaves of rye. But he's confident in his hands and his work. He has to be. Nobody else will do it for him. Welcome, travelers, to the Dragonleaf, the tea house where tales are told. 2 tales in one day? I know. We're insane. Stay tuned for the rest. Let us know in the comments where you think the short story's going. There might be a prize. There isn't, though. If you like the content, leave a tip in the tip jar, leave a like in the tip jar, and subscribe to our weekly tales. Leave a comment in the suggestion box to tell us how well we did, or how well we did not. Thank you for listening. And without further ado, it's time to open up shop.
You stop that.
What do you mean?
You stop that with your cups.
If anyone's listening, he's taken all of our tea. He won't leave. He's just drinking all of our tea.
You're being unrealistic.
He's taking it all from himself.
You were like, hold on, I gotta go get my drinks. And I was like,
He's monopolizing all the tea.
The way that he's drinking that tea is like my bedside table. There's like 8 different cups filled with like various amounts of liquid.
I feel like this much of a sip today. Also, in other news, when I was writing my last time blurb, I accidentally wrote Shiana Stormdaughter as Shiana Stormdort. So that's the best thing ever. Last
Shiana
time.
Stormdort.
Oh, scathing.
Daughter.
Got her daughter. Last time, as the Deviants leave Shiana Stormdaughter, with Emir Dillon for the next steps in handing her over to the authorities, Emir leaves the party with a general warning to prepare for an inquiry about the happenings. All of this will likely be kept under the rug until it can't anymore, but if they need to be in contact, Emir will find them. From there, Vincent travels outside of Amaranth to the woods of Moder the Jotun, where he meets Undgad, the troll artisan, and gets a dissonant lute from his collection, promising to return again. Matilda and Killian seek out a lonely mountain peak to bury the Twilight Fragment at the behest of her patron, and Jojo undergoes the first steps to joining the Rift Hunters Guild. She will soon be a whelp. As they return, Lavos tells them of his and Morrigan's research, and that it has led them to a farming fair and forum, where all of the humans who have gone missing in recent months attended a talk on apple breeding for cider production. A talk that runs every hour on the hour. The party gathers some goods from a disguised Lavos and makes their way to the forum. And as we pop back in, we find them currently here. Vincent, you circling about, taking the long route around, manage to see this large open farm from the south. And as you approach, go ahead and roll perception for me.
I was just gonna add, like, the Deviants, they're known for their apples, so this is right up our alley.
I don't get the reference, but I like it.
It's not supposed to be a reference.
Okay.
Okay.
Just a statement. We've made that canon. Oh, actually, no. Killian Apple reference. I get you. Clever. Callback. 20. As you look around the outer edges of the bounty, glancing towards the southeast into the Bright Bounty Bazaar, which you can see like signs kind of written out and about, you take note that there is a lot of Dungeonborn around, the monstrous races who had come from the dungeon. And aside from that, you can see a large, almost chapel-like structure to the southeast in this area that seems to have a lot of people coming and going of the Dungeonborn. As you look towards the sign here, you take note that there is an old white painted sign that has been covered up by a new kind of coat of white that reads upon it, no Dungeonborn, no Tieflings, no Drow.
Is it like say like the cider name on it or something for this event?
It's like an old wooden sign. Seems like it has been here for a long time and has recently been painted over with white. Now the writing that just is written across it is just the Bounty Farm Forum. But in your glancing, you can see kind of the faded writing underneath.
Interesting. Okay. Vincent will take note and keep walking.
You begin to make your way into the area. Killian, as you are moving in, you receive quite a few looks from the people around, staring you down for just brief moments. With your passive perception, you kind of take note, but it's not necessarily anything out of the ordinary from what you feel in the city, as per usual. As you continue to move in, I need you to roll perception as well.
All right.
Four. You seem... There's a lot of people here, and kind of just glancing around at every person's individual stares seems to be taking up a lot of your mental faculty, and you continue to just move forward into the area. Jojo, I need you to roll investigation for me.
Normal. 21.
Glancing around, you see that there's just a mad series of footprints all throughout the area, all virtually the same boot print of various different sizes. Glancing around at the ground, you can see the people coming and going. As you begin to look, a lot of these people seem incredibly similarly dressed, just same style, same what seems like brand, but different people, obviously. But that's virtually the only difference between them. There seems to be a large amount of conformity within these groups here. And as you move in, you begin to examine the forum around you. There's stands everywhere, food stands, different stalls, things showing off farming equipment. There's attractions off in the corner, apple picking and carriage rides, and various different things that are going on. Striding forward, you can see that large board that kind of displays everything that's going on. And upon it, you read once again, there are 3 current forum talks within this open forum. Selective breeding apples for apple cider. The one that Lavos had previously mentioned is just incredibly odd for having every hour on the hour for the entirety of this forum. You have a 3-field overview about how to properly rear the 3-field system into your crops, and the rosewood grain seasonal taste testing, which happens at sundown, is 11 gold piece cover, comes with dinner and a show, view of the fireworks, dancing with magic, and sword fighting.
Oh shit, that sounds cool. I hope we can stick around for that.
As you glance upon all of these things, you hear a series of footsteps behind you move up towards you and stop. Just cease about 30 feet. Matilda, you do not need to roll perception on this one, because from behind you, you see a young half-elf woman with kind of this just long blonde hair tied back into a bow, who approaches you holding a small bundle with a wicker basket covered in a red checker cloth. And as she approaches, she's just like, oh, Matilda, fuck, I didn't think you were coming. What did you learn?
I know you.
Morrigan.
Oh.
Was I not? Oh, sorry. I'm in disguise.
Okay.
Did you find anything?
Yes and no. I don't think this is the place to talk about it, though.
Gotcha. She's looking around. You guys are at the beginning of an open field. Not many people around you. The vast majority of them are over towards this farmhouse where the rest of the forum's taking place. Mm-hmm. She continues to walk and says, I've been here for about probably a day and a half. That talk is incredibly dull. It's just an hour long and they keep giving out samples.
Have you had any samples?
No. It seems like a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
I've checked it, though, and it doesn't seem to be poisoned or anything. Are the rest of you keeping separate?
Yes, I think for the moment. I think we're trying to be we're all here but we're not together for this thing?
Why?
I don't know.
All
We
right.
just want to gather information.
I don't get why. Okay, that's if you say so. And then she moves forward and kind of like stops in this just abrupt and mildly awkward walk before looking around and then stopping again and turning towards you and be like, do you have your book on you?
Always.
Okay. Here, take this. She takes off her silver cog necklace and hands it to you. You can put that on. You might need it.
Okay.
All right. Turns around, begins to walk, stops again, turns around, is just like, should we be together?
We can be.
Okay, all right. And then she stops and continues walking with you. And it's just awkward jerking motions. Everybody roll a d20. The use of which will be used later, maybe, in some kind of mysterious roll that you will not need to roll.
Are you wanting spooky ninja 20 or
Ninja 20?
No, you guys can know the outcome.
All right. Hiya.
All of us roll stealth?
It's not stealth, just a straight
Just a-
d20.
Just a D20.
Oh,
Okay.
Just to confirm, Adrian, you know that Vincent had disguised self up in awe from the end of last session, right?
Correct. Okay. From here, as you guys all begin to move into the forum, you see the similar things to what JoJo had seen. You see the stalls and the various different areas. There is in this general kind of like as a look around, you see that there's a spot for attractions. There is a spot for the actual booths for food and various different farming equipment. And then there's the farmhouse where the conversations are taking place. What do you guys do? Where do you go?
those rolls are not spotlight, huh?
They are not. Do you guys want to roll a spotlight?
We can.
Vincent will probably just like make sure everyone's kind of in eye shot. He'll go over and check the board as well because he hasn't technically seen it yet.
You approach, and at this point, you see JoJo. As you approach, go ahead and roll a d20 for me.
Sorry, I just wanted to state what Vincent was doing quickly. No.
Totally cool.
Two.
Okay, you approach JoJo. Vincent, JoJo, those footsteps that you had previously heard kind of stop before you, turn and begin to move away.
Did I get a glimpse of who it was?
Roll perception.
Did I also roll perception?
As you approach, you have no reason to be suspicious of people. They're just kind of coming and going.
Ooh, 21.
21. You turn around and glance backwards. You see that there is what looks like a young couple, maybe 16, no older than. This just farm couple. And as they're moving, you glance back at them, and you manage to catch just a glint in both of their eyes as both of them are looking at you, and both of them turn their heads away and begin to walk in a different direction.
Okay.
Vincent, you approach the board and you see the same thing that JoJo had seen. 3 different talks, of which they are happening at sporadic times, save for the selective breeding apples for apple cider.
Okay. Vincent is disguised as probably just like a generic human.
Hume?
He's got his cloak up, so and he's making his hair look a little puffy underneath to hide like where his horns would be. Yeah, he'll just start looking around like a farmer looking to or like a workman for a farmer, just like interested in some activities. And he'll in the back of JoJo's head, you're just gonna hear JoJo G. Oh.
There we go. JoJo dear, make sure to keep an eye about. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'll be around, okay?
Yep.
You hear this in the back of your head, but you do not see Vincent.
She thinks that and hopes that you hear that.
He does. And yeah, he'll head off towards the what do you call it? The place to go to the meeting. I don't know if it's at the board or somewhere else.
It's just in the farmhouse. So you begin to head towards the farmhouse. You can see that dozens and dozens of people about. You can hear the just cheering of children, the movement of the people of the bounty.
Was there a stall with like some clothing? Like
There's
that
stalls
everyone
with
else
clothing.
wearing? They're like a shawl, like a colorful shawl that looks like, bohemian, like people like to fit in this location.
As you approach, there's a few different shops with clothing articles, and you can see that there are a large number of people gathered around one of them, and virtually nobody at this other one that's selling this kind of like bright colored jewelry. You look on towards the kind of just beige, brown, and green shop with like rows of the exact same boot shoes that everyone else is wearing. Shawls hanging off the top and hats, and then there's just various different stalls that are a third as popular.
Yeah, she goes up to the one that seems to be the one that everyone's wearing. She's like, "How much for this shawl? The gray one with the flowers."
You want the one with flowers? That
Yeah.
would be 4 copper, dear.
Oh, okay, yeah, here you go.
Oh, thank you very much.
She takes it. She says,
Well, with every purchase.
and she hands you a ticket.
What's this for?
It's 1 admission into a talk into Farm
Oh.
Fair. If you like, you can search. I'm afraid I don't have very much time to talk, but you can trade that for 1 either attraction or Farm Forum talk. Hello, yes, no, Brown? Excellent.
Begins to move over to the side as other people just like,
Jojo throws on that shawl and tries to like go back to the human that was beside her. Did you give any indication that was you? Does Jojo even realize that was the same Vincent?
no.
Probably not, huh? She's like,
Unless-
shit.
Unless
How am I
you
supposed to
wanted
get word to him? Fuck.
You could just think out really loud.
I don't think she realizes it.
Maybe, yeah.
Who else could be listening?
He cast a message in the past, so maybe you're assuming he has to respond first, and then you can reply.
Yeah, that's what she assumes.
As we kind of round around to everybody individually, go ahead and roll Spotlight now. There we go. Oh, goodness. Guys, for some reason, I have too many cups on my desk.
You should-
Wow.
I hope
Bonking
you don't
them.
knock anything over.
Mm.
No, I won't. I am very adept at existing with arms. I've been doing it my whole life.
I
Killian.
feel like that's a bit of a lie.
I've stubbed my foot
Well-
3 times yesterday.
Killian, you are up first.
So you said that there's a lot of monstrous here, or not in the bounty, but around the bounty.
You actually would know that the Church of the One is contained within Demeter's district, which is just to the south of you currently within the Bright Bounty Bazaar. A
Gotcha.
church that is the
One tribe.
exactly the predominant church of the One Tribe, which is the global religious group, not necessarily religious, but with the god Frugek as the helm. But it is mostly a gathering of monsters in order to maintain this just view of unity among monsterkind as one tribe. And as you kind of look south, you see that the church is there, light plumes of smoke coming from the hearth. And you feel you've never been to this farm, but you just know that general location.
Yeah, I think Killian, like, if there's like things that happen there that are monstrous centric, like she's probably gone a few times, but I don't think she's like a regular. That would like she's not, I guess, pious in that regard. Like she almost certainly like believes in like the one tribe. Like it's like their whole identity as monstrous is like, they're all one people essentially, right? But I don't think she like spends a lot of time there. What she's gonna do is she's gonna try to find just like not necessarily any kind of like activities, but she's gonna look through the like the artisans and the merchants. She wants to ask each of them, even if it looks like they're not selling produce, she wants to ask them if they're selling anything from the dungeon. Like specifically the 10th floor, like crimson grass bundles or like anything like that.
Go ahead and roll an investigation check. Actually, I would like I would like you to also roll just a straight charisma check with disadvantage.
Sure thing. Charisma. Ability check. Disadvantage.
Okay. I need you to roll that investigation check with disadvantage as well.
Okay.
Just one more
roll
d20,
again.
basically. Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, it was almost a 1, but... Well, still the same 10 that I had rolled previously.
You don't... The people around here seem very dismissive, and in the concept of trying to find anything specifically from the dungeon, you are basically like shouldered. You are snubbed. And it's just like, I'm not going to be dealing in anything like that. We deal with natural goods out here. And you almost get like frustration and aggression to the point where as you search for the next like 15, 20 minutes, you recover no information.
That technically, recovering no information is information for me.
Yeah.
Don't you
Because-
failed the check. Remove that information from your head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I figure if Killig had come here, he would have been asking about those sorts of things. But yeah, okay, good. Lots of snubbing. Killian's used to this. She's just gonna keep kind of meandering. I think she's gonna, if she can pick out a party member from the crowd, she's gonna be like within shouting range. But I think it's based on her previous perception check. I think there's just so many people and she's so short that it's hard to make heads or tails of people as the crowds are moving.
Yeah, it's rather difficult. You can go ahead and roll perception, though, to try and clock anyone out of the crowd.
Okay.
2? No one. Just legs.
No.
Legs in the
Just
exact same brown
legs
boots.
are getting bumped around like here and there. Like no one's even saying excuse me. All right. Yep.
I think most people are probably telling you to watch where you're going.
Yeah.
After walking into you. Let me see. Killian, you rolled a 13. I'm actually just getting caught up now. Best at this. And then, let me check this. Jojo 9.
Killian is doing her best not to say sorry after she gets bumped into.
Roll a
She's trying to
constitution.
not be. Sorry.
Roll a charisma saving throw.
Charisma saving throw. All right.
This is as a devout Canadian. You need to roll that charisma saving throw. You apologize
that.
anyway.
Sorry. Yeah, her cover's so blown. She's gonna just be a goblin, but like now she's anyone looking at her, if they know about Killian, I think they know who she is. Well, that's me done.
Killian, as you continue scouring about the area, Matilda, you and Morrigan continue moving in towards the market. You kind of see the distant people. You can hear fireworks. You can't see any fireworks. And there never seems to be any explosions. You can just hear the screeching of them. And as you continue to move in, she stops again and looks at you. And with a very serious look says, we should also look for any drow that we might come across. Unrelated matter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you trust me? And I smile.
Should I? She smiles back equally.
Depends on who you ask.
I'm gonna, as an answer to your question, weirdly, yes.
Okay. And then I loop my arm. How much taller than me is she?
For you, how tall is your character?
Oh, shoot. She is...
An infinite number of feet at current.
She
You made her
is-
pretty tiny.
I did make her pretty tiny. So, hold on.
I feel like she's around 5'2"-ish.
Yeah, 5'2". Whoa, Adrian, look at you!
I got the memory like a goat. Be
I
that
don't
good
know
or
what
bad?
that means.
Me either.
Yep.
Morrigan is around 5'9", so not huge difference, but a fair difference.
So what'll do is I'll link my arm through hers, and we walk towards the crowd of people in the stalls, and Matilda just very animatedly starts talking about things that she thinks that friends would talk about. She talks about her little bunny rabbit and about some like things that she found recently. She's just trying to sound like two girls that have just bumped into each other and are having a really nice like chat, but while I'm walking through and doing this, I want to look around it and try and listen for any conversation or any iconography that I can see throughout the stalls. Because Matilda's used to hearing people have conversations while not trying to have a conversation, if that makes sense, where they're having a conversation, but there's like layers to it, having grown up with their parents.
Are you not that Thieves' Cant itself would be a language that's employed here, but I think knowledge of Thieves' Cant would help, but you are not proficient, yes?
No, not Thieves' Cant, but just like, you know how sometimes you're trying to have a conversation, but you're trying to say it in a way that other people won't know what you're trying to say to each other? Or
sure.
Do you have any of this kind of apple, la la la? Or if there was like anything that...
You got any Macintosh back there?
Yeah, or...
Gala. Yeah. No, go ahead and... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, and then when I'm looking through at the stuff that they're selling, I'm trying to see if they're hiding the cult symbol within things that are innocuous. So, like, say that flower shawl that Jojo just bought. Oh, it's just flowers, but in reality, if you look a little bit harder, it's like, it's like, oh, Illuminati! Like, it's like making all the weird, weird symbols. So those are the kinds of things that she's looking for.
Okay. Roll one global investigation check for the just searching for hidden information within any innocuous objects or conversation. With a 21, as you begin to move around, you take another 10 or 15 minutes to really look. It's somewhat sparse, but there's a lot of people here. Glancing, you do take note of the similar dress, which in and of itself is indicative of organization. But these people do seem very disparate in a way that they don't seem to be acting. They seem to be like locals of the area, but not necessarily in any way conjoined to each other. While you are investigating, you take note that there are a lot of people at the board who seem like very lithe, very skinny, to a degree of unhealthy. And as they are looking at the board, you can see just these kind of fidgety movements. And as soon as they come up to it, everyone who is that degree of somewhat unhealthy begins to circle around the board and move with haste towards the farmhouse. No hidden symbols as far as you can discern from the area around you. And no conversations that seem to be heavily layered.
Okay. And we pull away, and I look at her, and I say, why does it look like people that are not doing so well are going into the farmhouse? Do you know anything about that? Or the farmhouse?
I've seen a lot of people who are like that travel into the same talks. Now, they travel to the farmhouse, and they seem to just wait for these talks to begin, and then go in and leave shortly after. I've noticed this trend, but I haven't seen any connection to it. It's very odd.
Do you think they're selling drugs?
It seems likely, but how? Because they don't interact with anybody during. It's odd.
How do you get into the farmhouse, the talks?
She just points. There's a large open barn door, and you see people kind of coming and going from it.
Okay.
Hopefully a few more pairs of eyes in different locations might be helpful. She's like, oh, 2 rabbits? Oh, you said just 1. That's silly me. I wasn't listening. And then she just continues moving alongside you. Jojo, the spotlight moves over towards you.
Jojo. They'll figure it out. I'm sure they're probably fine. And so she like has her locks down. And she has her piercings had been taken out as well. And so she puts a shawl on, which is like a wraparound with like a clasp at the shoulder. And it has like at the ends, it has like a strip of like these, this sort of like a deep, rich yellow. And it's just like sunflowers, which I imagine is like helianth type of, thing. And so she wraps it up and she's just going to look like a cozy farm goer. Someone you see at like a, what I would imagine people look like at a farmer's market in this place. And then she's gonna make her way towards the farmhouse.
A sweet little farm orc.
Yeah, she's a sweet little farm orc. She's a cozy looking farm orc.
Love it. You move up towards the farmhouse. What is your passive perception?
It's not very good considering her perception's pretty good.
Not super great.
It's 12, yeah.
You move towards the farmhouse and you begin to prepare. You see these people coming and going, and you kind of get stopped like halfway towards the farmhouse, and there's a tall woman who just looks up towards you and is just like, nice shawl.
Thanks.
Your,
yeah, I just got it.
Your whole outfit could use a little bit of work, though, I think.
That's pretty blunt. Okay, what do you got? What is
Follow
is
me.
it the shoes? Okay.
I mean, she begins to move over towards the stall on the side, and you can see she's maybe 17 or 18, and she moves up towards the stall with her parents, and they're just, did she insult you to bring you here?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good business.
Sorry about
tactic.
that. She turns and walks away, and she's like, I don't know how she keeps getting people to come on over here, but I assure you, you look lovely. If you
Thanks.
need anything, let us know. We've been here since the beginning of the forum, and, we just sell what everyone else has, so at the same cost. If you happen to need anything, we're here.
Is you've been around for the whole time. How long's the forum been going on?
It's been about 2 weeks, gonna go on another 2. A lot of contracts coming and going through the area, so it's pretty important that we keep this going as long as possible.
Oh, okay. Any weird stuff around here? I like the weird vegetables.
You ain't local. Well, we got some incredibly large pumpkins coming on here, so
Okay.
that's something that's weird, strange. But strange in a nature kind of way, you know? Beautiful.
Yeah. Any weird people with weird talks?
Roll persuasion.
So subtle. She's so subtle. Normal. Bad is 3.
No, we ain't about weird over here, really. We're more
Okay.
about getting things, done well.
Okay.
You need any clothing, quality, we're right here. Name's Braden.
Okay. Thanks.
Cheers. Now, if you see my daughter again, you want to tell her to just quit that right away.
Yeah, I'll give her a piece of my mind.
Thank you very much. Give her a chunk. And then he turns to the next customer. He's like, how you doing? Come on in. You begin to make your way back towards the farmhouse. Vincent, you're up.
As he's not like rushing or anything. He's just gonna make his way kind of over to the farmhouse, somewhat looking a little interested, kind of looking at some booths along the way. Without skipping a beat in the back, because Mo was following him. In the back of Mo's head, he's just gonna hear, "Hey, do you want to go find Killian and keep an eye on her? She might have the most difficulty around here right now."
Ah, of course. The small green one. Why ever do you think that?
And he looks out amongst the sea of Caucasian. And it's
I
just
didn't
like,
ask you for your opinion on her. Now go.
Very well.
you don't hear him leave. He seems to have been just silent as the night in this motion, but he just disappears.
Vincent's looking at like rakes and farm equipment right now. Just like inspecting it, looking it over. Just, maybe later. And he'll put it back down and continue on his way to the farmhouse. Still trying to, he clocked where Jojo was before. Has he been able to see Matilda yet or no?
Matilda at this point has made her way up and kind of examined the board. The areas that everyone has gone so far have been very visible, save for Killian. I'm actually going to roll perception for Mo right now. Okay. So you have spotted basically everybody but Killian in your just with your passive.
Okay. Is there anything else that he notices around this little hinky? If not, he'll just keep heading over to the farmhouse. as the time gets closer, he doesn't want to get there too early.
Roll that investigation check. You have advantage because you are proficient in insight. So trying to discern the motives of the people doing something odd.
7.
7? Looking about, it seems just like people enjoying themselves.
Okay. He'll look at a couple more stalls, because how much more time do we have until it starts? Because it was a half an hour away, right?
Yeah, you're probably like 10 minutes away at this point. As
Alright,
everyone
we'll start
begins to
to-
move about.
Yeah, he'll start to head over then.
Alrighty. As we circle around, Matilda, Jojo, and Vincent have begun to move towards the farmhouse. Killian, you were also moving towards the farmhouse. I need Vincent to roll perception, since you were currently being vigilant and keeping your eye out for everybody. Jojo, I think you can also do this because you were previously looking for Vincent. Killian, you were looking for anybody, so you can roll perception. Matilda, I believe you were just heading toward the farmhouse, so that's fine.
No one approached Vincent in his normal human form.
I mean, in general, people have been just calling out for, like, come on in, see candied lemons. Candied lemons. You've eaten candied apples. Try lemons. But as you continue to move about the area, nobody directly interacts with you.
Brayden said there was something weird going on here.
Candied lemons are a local delicacy. The
That
least
sounds
weird
actually
thing.
really yummy, but
It does.
I don't. Matilda cares about you guys. Just don't think she's not looking for you because she's like, fuck these guys. She's just, yeah.
No, that's fine. Don't worry
Just
about
wanted to
it.
say it. It's like, what? I don't think that Matilda
That's
doesn't care.
That is
I
totally
feel like
okay.
it would be odd for Matilda to look for it.
I was just recounting one by one in my head. You could see the gears spinning, and I was just like, okay, I didn't mean to call Matilda out. Okay, so everyone cares about each other but Matilda. Great. So everyone but Matilda can roll. Killian and Vincent, you both managed to spot something out of the ordinary toward the rear of the farmhouse in this moment. You spot a small dungeon-born, as far as you can tell, based on the hunch and the motion. This like long movement, but wearing a brown-covered shoulder cloak over the head, kind of poking out. You can see the impact of ears on the rear side. Killian, as a goblin, you recognize the gait of a goblin. Moving towards the rear of the farmhouse, kind of holding onto this just large bale. And you can hear people in the back just being like, hurry up about it. Just right out of your sight towards the rear of the farmhouse.
Okay. I'm gonna try to approach stealthily.
Go ahead and roll stealth for me. Ninja roll.
Right.
Was I also able to spot Killian with that roll or not?
With a 20, I think you were. You were able to spot Killian.
Let's find out.
So you were able to spot Killian for sure.
Okay, Vincent's going to not like follow right behind, but he's going to track over to Killian, maybe keeping like 30, 40 feet of distance, but making sure she's always in eyesight.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead and roll stealth as well if you're attempting to be stealthy?
I guess.
I don't know if you're trying to stay out of Killian's sight or just sight, period.
It'd just not look odd. Yeah, it'd be like hide in plain sight kind of thing.
Gotcha. Was that a ninja roll?
Yep.
Excellent. So as you guys begin to move about, Killian, you do not spot Vincent. As Vincent begins to move around, he's just going to the back of the farmhouse looking casual. And you begin to move around to the rear. As you do, you are stopped by two humans who just kind of like abruptly move in between and are just like, rear of the farmhouse is for business only. The fair's over that way. You all just head on in for the protection of those who are currently at the talks. So please understand and thank you for your cooperation.
Okay. Can I work?
Roll persuasion with disadvantage.
Oops. Secret disadvantage.
You received an 11.
Yeah.
They look towards each other for a moment and they're just like, I'm afraid that's something you would, if you like, we can put your name on a list maybe a few weeks down the line. But it's tight. I wouldn't hold out hope.
I was a shepherd before I came here.
I'm afraid the pigs that we got for the competition don't need any additional movement. Thank you kindly, but I'm afraid that's a no.
Okay. Killian will just turn around and dejectedly walk back to the fair.
All right.
At least until she gets around to the other side of the house, and then she's gonna try to go around the other side of the house.
Vincent, you just see Killian move around back, and you hear, and then Killian turns around, stops, and you continue to follow in secrecy. So,
was I able to overhear that conversation with the men and Killian?
With your previous perception check, yes, absolutely. Even keeping it a distance, they didn't round the corner and travel like 700 feet, so you were totally good. And Killian, you circle around and begin to move about the other side. As you reach the front door, all of you spot each other in your motion, save for Vincent, who seems to be suspiciously absent, and you see Matilda moving with a blonde half-elven woman, kind of holding her at the arm. Do you guys interact with each other at all, or do you continue around the other side, Killian?
I'll probably do as subtle a little head nod of like this over here, and then continue around the side of the house.
Oh man, what's over there? I'm just gonna. Okay, she's talking to no one. She's by herself.
D&D is difficult when no one's really paying attention to you, because if there's people walking about, you're like, I wonder what's over there, and you leave. Everyone's just like, the hell's wrong with that girl?
How far is Vincent from Killian and the others, in feet? Does this matter?
That is up to you.
Okay.
You can remain within any number of feet you desire.
Okay, he wants to be within 30 feet of them. And then the back of Killian's head, she'll hear, this might not go over as well as you think, but I'll follow you. So just lead, and I'll see if I can butt it if anything happens.
I do pause my conversation with Morrigan in the sense of we stop, and I just make it look like I'm getting really animated in my story, but I position myself to kind of keep an eye on where they're going, or where I saw Killian go.
Okay.
Killian pauses just long enough to kind of whisper to herself, can you hear me?
Dear, you don't need to whisper out loud. It looks odd. Just talk on your head.
She does so, and you get just a solid 30 seconds of her talking incredibly quickly, because she thinks faster than she can talk. She's just okay, well, I saw someone go by behind there. It was definitely a goblin. It had brown cloak. It might have even been Killick. I don't know, but they were having it work, and then I tried to go back there, and there was a whole bunch of people, and they wouldn't let me pass. And apparently, if I want to work here, I have to wait 2 weeks. And she gives everything. She also also everyone here is really bad. They're just bad people. They won't listen to me, and every time I try to talk to them, even about anything, they just push me aside.
There was, I think, anyone of your dungeon born, as well as tieflings and probably drow, are going to have difficulties around here. But, doesn't mean we still can't pursue what we're doing. We might be able to use this to our advantage.
Okay. Well, if I get stopped by another 2 people around this corner, and if I can tell that they're not bound, I'm just going to crack them in the head.
Okay, I'll try and do some centrifuge for you, in case anyone notices.
Right. Killian will.
Subterfuge? I don't know what that word is.
Subterfuge.
I do like centrifuge, though. So you're just I'll grab them and spin the shit out of them.
I pictured as
centrifuge force.
That's what they do to separate blood from plasma, and I was like, oh shit!
I don't know why, but I hear centrifuge and I just think explosives.
That is a hell of a threat, though. I will separate your blood from your plasma. I would be scared.
That's a Matilda threat, if I've ever heard
one. So the 2 of you, Killian and Vincent, continue around the side, correct? And
in the back
Matilda, you are keeping your eye.
in the back of, if I'm close enough to Jojo and Matilda, Vincent's gonna be like, "We're going around back. It might get messy, so keep an ear out. Maybe try to play, interception if anything happens."
You need a ticket to get into the talk. You need to buy something. Just thought it. That's besides the point. I just wanted. I couldn't say it before.
Goodly noted, but I think we're taking the back route in.
I'm good. I think I'll take the front route in.
Okay. In that instance, sure.
Matilda will reply to Vincent and say, "I'm talking to Morgan. I have my eyes on it."
Okay. And Vincent will follow Killian.
Morgan has also been keeping a stout look around. You take note as you begin to follow Killian. Vincent, at this point, Mo has flown over. Like you can like hear him. You can feel that connection again as he flies in and kind of whips you with his tail in your shoulder and continues moving past.
In the back of Mo's head, I'm gonna tell him, "Go steal something from the booths, just in case we need to get in."
Now you're talking my language.
And then he peels off. I'm gonna go ahead and roll one more dice. Okay. You follow Killian around the outer side of the area. Matilda, just because I'm not 100% clear on this one, do you follow them because they are leaving your sight, or do you go into the farmhouse, following after Jojo?
No, we stopped and we're just having a very animated conversation. I have my eyes on where they've gone.
Gotcha.
And I'm just like keeping watch that way. I'm not going to follow them per se.
Okay, so chilling around the front of the farmhouse. Excellent.
Yeah.
As you two circle around the other side, you begin to make your way off. I will need another stealth check from the two of you.
Shit. Let me.
Not ninja.
Yep, I forgot to ninja.
It's a samurai roll. It calls itself out. Okay. The two of you begin to move around to the other side. You stop at the corner as you see those humans once again standing around the rear. But what draws your attention more than the humans, you see some very poshly dressed, but Vincent, you recognize due to your history with fashion, Cyrenan fashion when you see it. Very tan individuals standing with very brightly colored eyes, and they are just moving around the rear of the farmhouse, taking a look. You see like lace shawls that are cut with various different what looks like luminescent gemstones that have been inlaid into them. And as they glance back and forth, they begin to speak to each other in a language neither of you know, and then shortly after make their way into the rear of the farmhouse.
Can Vincent assume it's Cyrenan? Because
Yes.
he's heard like Rosa speak it quite
Precisely.
a bit. Is there any like single words he can pick up?
Roll intelligence, just straight intelligence.
You had pillow talk.
Cyrenan pillow talk? Sure.
Sure. Okay.
We're using like terms of endearment to each other. I don't think he'll know what they mean.
Hey man, it's not always terms of endearment. Ooh, 23.
Sweet nothings or insults, one or the other. You might recognize.
Yep.
With a 23, let me think here.
Are they swearing?
I'm just trying to think of half-decent sexual innuendos. You hear like,
Not always that.
you hear finished. You hear work, I think. You probably recognize a few small words here and there, but aside from finished and work, it's mostly just completely not understood.
Sure. Cool. Feel any context is better than none.
But as those people turn and begin to make their way into the farmhouse, you see those two humans move up towards the doors, close them, kind of wooden barricade off to the top, and then a padlock underneath. And then as they speak to each other, they just elbow each other a few times, turn, and begin to move over towards the other side, with the rear door having been padlocked closed. They had not noticed you, as they take one final glance around, and they move to the other side of the farmhouse where Killian had previously approached them. And then they turn out of sight.
Killian, dear, you might need to hold up. Door seems to be locked.
Okay.
I couldn't quite make out what they were saying, but it seems they had finished whatever work was they were attempting to do.
I mean, the lock doesn't necessarily have to mean we stop.
I know, I was just letting you know in case you never saw it. The two people that left and went around, are they the Cernan people, or were those the two humans?
The Cernan people went into the farmhouse, and the two humans who were previously kind of just guarding this area have now left. So you guys are alone in the rear of the farmhouse. You can see straight through across the water to like a small village on the other side, and there's people coming and going, but no particular interest is being paid attention to you guys right now.
The also the coloring and the type of like outfit they were wearing, was it unique or was it just fine? Like a fine outfit that was tailored?
It looked very nice. You can see that it was made with some silks that are particularly difficult to get because the silk it comes from is from a monster.
Any particular facial features? Scars, moles?
What was your previous perception check?
The last one I rolled was the 21 way up there.
That was in a previous scenario. Go ahead and roll one more perception check. And then we'll cycle around to the front of the farmhouse and see what's going on.
11.
They were wearing those shawls kind of up over their faces. I'd say you just noted that there were two males.
Okay.
Yeah. Two masculine figures, rather. And as you guys look onwards and begin to ascertain your current position, we cycle around front. Matilda, you maintain keeping watch. On the other side, you see two humans who seem to, at the very least, be wearing, like, thicker clothing. Like, these almost padded leathers, but not necessarily armor. They seem to be in this kind of work mode, and as they continue moving past you into the location of the fair, people within the small... Let me actually just get my bearing here. What is the word I'm looking for? People within the farm fairgrounds are offering them food. As they approach, just kind of reaching a hand out and taking a candied apple from them, giving a nod and beginning to bite into it, very blatantly moving around and showing authority. You take note that they have just left the rear of the farmhouse. Even with your passive, they're being very, very boisterous and broad. And Killian and Vincent do not return. Jojo, you move into the farmhouse, and you begin to see there's a woman sitting there at a small desk alongside a young man. And she kind of looks over towards him, and he approaches, and he's like, do you have a ticket for any of the talks?
Yeah, I got this ticket.
Oh, excellent. Then you don't need to buy one. Let me go ahead and just takes a small hole punch and just kind of like... It's this like awkward kind of hand crank thing, but it just stamps out a huge chunk of the card. Like, there you are. Which talk would you like to partake in? We have to make sure that seats are available for you so that you don't have to sit in the aisle, because that would be unfortunate. Customer service. Apple breeding. It's quite full, but I think we could probably fit you in the aisle.
Okay.
Terribly sorry for the poor customer service. You see the older woman is just beaming with pride. So right this way, ma'am. Okay. And she's like, we don't... the room will be just around the corner on the left. It's kind of a converted farmhouse, but if you see the red doors, just enter on in. The talk will be beginning in just a few minutes.
Okay. She goes and like looks around, pretending to be like, well, I guess she's both like being like, no, where the hell do I go? But also trying to like look around for anything that looks off to her. I don't think she's spent zero time in farmhouses. So it's probably hard for her to be like, that's a weird looking hook. That's just where they put saddles, idiot.
For this, I would say go ahead and roll history. Do you have proficiency in perception?
I have both history proficiency and perception proficiency.
You may roll with advantage.
Okay, I don't think I'm going to do better than that one, but I will do another one.
And you did.
Oh, look at that.
Natural
That's
20
Every
for
time
24.
I'm sitting there being like, I know you're going to do it.
One better. Natural
Though you have not spent very much time in farmhouses, you are very well read on various different degrees of
farm
of just
novels.
about everything. Well, the history of Amaranth was that of a fishing and farm village. So there is a lot of just farming in Amaranth's history, just generally. However, as you look around, nothing feels out of the ordinary to you. Everything feels placed as naturally as it could have been. Like, things have fallen exactly where they would in normal life. Nothing feels out of the ordinary.
I think that Jojo thinks to a book where it is a journal, like an autobiography from a farm hand that became a soldier and went to war. And that's like one of her favorite books, is like this one where it's like a farmhand that becomes like a war hero. And she's like, yeah, just like that guy. My favorite book.
I think it became, it had a really good name, but it doesn't make any sense. So now it's Of Farms and Fire. That is the name of the book.
Yeah, the farmhouse burns down. What is that part of the book?
Oh, man, you've spoiled it. You begin to make your way in, you see the red door. You are confident that nothing's like overly amiss is happening here, at the very least, with like, there's no iconography, there's nothing out of the ordinary that's been intentionally placed, or seemingly like, yeah, what do farms have? Hooks? Yeah, we'll put some hooks right here. Kind of thing.
Okay, cool. It's not like, this is pretending to be a farm.
No, seems pretty farmy.
Cool.
Can
Yeah,
I
she
ask-
goes and gets her aisle.
DM, can I ask a clarification question? Is the farmhouse separate from the talk house?
The farmhouse, it's a large farm that has been just converted into various different rooms with like wooden walls that have been placed in
Okay.
where there were previously stalls. It is the same building.
Okay, sorry, I was just confused. I was like, is there two different buildings?
No, just the one large farmhouse. Is incredibly large, like very, very wealthy as far as you can see, but quite old as well. As you all begin to move in, we cycle back around the rear of the farm to Killian and Vincent. You seem to be alone. What do you do?
Vincent's going to walk up a little close to Killian, so she'll probably sees a human behind her now. I don't know if you take any.
She'll just kind of like freeze and think in her mind like, Vincent, is that you?
Oh, very observant, dear.
Okay. All right, what are we doing? Are we trying to get in? I
Might
don't
be
see the
worth it.
goblin.
Here, do you think it's better if I make you invisible? I might be able to sneak back there.
Maybe. I mean, there's people across the river.
Is there anywhere if I cast invisibility on Killian, would it be super noticeable, or is there somewhere that we can hide behind like a veil or?
No, if anybody noticed, it would be incredibly difficult for them to do so. There's a small river off to the side that's providing a large amount of cover, the sound of the farm fair going on behind you, and this just quite wide river into people just walking several hundred feet away.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it.
If you're invisible, can you unlock a door? Like, is that like? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
just
It is.
attack or spell.
Okay, sorry.
Good.
That's up to you, dear. But I can definitely make this happen.
Go ahead. I don't want to be seen by these people.
Okay. Vincent will go over and put a hand on Killian's shoulder and try to quietly cast invisibility.
Okay. In this instance, go ahead and roll stealth.
Okay.
Ninja.
You stifle the reverberation of the weave as you cast the spell, and as Killian disappears from sight, glancing around, you see
I can't-
nobody that could have noticed you.
Can you get rid of the feather? I can't target Killian because it's
Oh, sure.
allowing me to target the feather.
Zoop.
You disappear as this just magical shroud encircles you.
Right. So those guys left. Did you see the goblin?
I did. He was hauling something, but I don't know where he went. Or she.
Do I see like the hay bale that the goblin was carrying?
No. You ascertain they likely went into the farmhouse itself.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Should I take a crack at that door?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll keep an eye out. Vincent will look around. Try and make it look like he's not, like he's supposed to be there.
Roll deception. I don't think you need to roll deception. People aren't paying attention to you at all. As you move out and begin to mingle, it's just casual, confident. And Killian, you move up towards the area and you begin to pick. Did you roll that with proficiency? Yes.
I did.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You move in and just begin to work your way through. After a few minutes, as it seems to be a relatively difficult lock to pick, opens. Just slides off casually, and silently the door begins to just creak open.
Right.
If I see the door open enough for like a goblin to go through, I think Vincent will kind of like do a 1-2 look around and then stealth into there as well.
Yeah, you see nobody
I'll,
approaching.
When I see Vincent kind of like looking around, I'll just slowly pull the door open enough to like slide sideways through and sneak into the house.
Alrighty. As the two of you begin to move in, the just light bit of dust that falls from the like wooden slatted roof above you. You move into the mild darkness, and you can see that the interior is not lit, and you can smell the thick hay and just wet burlap. You see the ground itself as you take a few footsteps, a little bit mushy, but the wood itself kind of bends and buckles underneath your footsteps. And as the two of you begin to move in, we cycle around to the front. Jojo, you enter into the talk, and you see that it is packed. Every seat taken, several people sitting in the aisles, some of which just knees to their chest, sitting and moving back and forth, waiting for the show to begin. Several ushers moving down the aisles are moving alongside with these just large platters of cider. And as they move, the people toward the front just jump, grab their cider, and begin to like sit down, waiting for the show to begin very patiently.
Are those the ones that look unhealthy? They're like the fidgety ones that are like...
You see in this kind of dimly lit space, go ahead and roll perception with disadvantage. Actually, you have dark vision, so you would roll this normally. So I'll take the higher. Go ahead and just re-roll it.
$15.
Looking around the area, you get a pretty good clock of it. I won't request that you roll perception for this area again. As you begin to look around, you see that more of the people toward the front are definitely the more unhealthy looking ones and very fidgety, but as they sit within the area, they sit very calmly and confidently waiting. They don't seem to be paying particular attention to the ushers, but they were definitely seemingly excited when they received their apple cider. And moving down the line, people toward the back, just like, oh, thank you very much. Grab a cup and sit back, and then they come up to you, where they reach down and offer you a small platter.
Yeah, Jojo takes one.
You look at it, it looks like it's got this faint, like, sparkling to it, to the point where it's not even like the bubbles that rise up from it pop, and then these little light bits flitter out. Visibly magical.
Visibly magical. She's gonna try and like just sort of like look to the side and try and like avert her gaze from people as she looks at it, and she's gonna magic awareness. Actually, I think she's gonna turn to the side as she like snaps it into magic awareness and looks at it and then scans the room for a bit. I don't know if her like chaos vision will be that noticeable in this dimly lit room.
I think virtually any action that does not state that it is clandestine has some kind of perceivable circumstance, but I don't think it's overly perceivable, especially in the dim lighting. Go ahead and roll, and anything barring like a 5 or lower, I think you succeed.
For stealth?
Yep. Or, yeah, probably stealth in this instance.
What, Ninja?
Ninja, please.
Normale.
Excellent. I'm so confident giving you guys DCs when you can't see your roll.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like people have noticed you as you begin to focus in on this. Everybody's drink is magical. Aside from that, there is virtually nobody... one moment. There's virtually nobody with magic items or anything aside from the drinks that they're holding. The School of Magic itself is... Let me go ahead and check it. Transmutation. And as you sit down, the door behind you closes as the talks begin, and the sparse light that was within here goes fully dark before some just faint torches get lit by the ushers down the center of the aisles, and the talk begins. A very, very flashily dressed individual, quite rotund, begins to approach from the rear as he throws open the curtain. He's got this just bold, flourishing mustache, thick beard, and he's like, well, hello now. Welcome everyone to the forum. The talk will begin in just a moment. You currently have a small batch of the Rosewood Grain's brand new apple cider recipe within your hands. Now, magically enchanted by Our Lady Chanterre herself, this latest brand of apple cider is simply divine. So, make sure to finish that glass before the end of the show. If you do so, you will be entered to win a little bit of a prize, you see. At the bottom of your glass will be a small token, and upon that token reads a number. Bring your numbers to the front for a draw at the end of the talk. Thank you all for coming. And please, be patient. No stealing the secrets of this cider now. And you hear people every now and then just like, like light laughs, and he's just like, no, all right. Turns and begins to move towards the back and closes the curtain again.
Can me and Killian hear this from where we are?
You can hear the general commotion. And as you begin to move in, you can hear just faint, like
okay. So
roar of gentle laughter. Just mumbling through the wooden walls. Matilda, around front, you can hear like people who have run in to try and get the last call on these talks. And the doorways all close as the 3 separate talks begin. You find yourself outside, and the people around you have died down.
Okay, I would have tried to get in for the talk. Because I would have saw the guards come, and they didn't look like they were on edge. They didn't really look like they just like come back from beating somebody up. They were just being jerks. So, like their usual like haughty selves. So I would have tried to make my way into the talk because that's what we're supposed to be doing.
I would say roll a dexterity check to attempt to get there in time, because at current, while this was all going on, I don't think you were fully aware of where, when, how. With a 13, you begin to move in towards the farmhouse, but as you reach up toward the front of the door has closed. You see one person just on the exterior who approaches, and it's just like, I'm afraid the talk is in progress. If you like, you can come back within the hour. It also requires a ticket, madam.
Okay. I'm really scared of crowds, so I didn't want to come up and approach when everything was so busy.
I'm sorry to hear that. If you have a fear of being in large groups, then maybe this talk isn't for you. It might be better to try and avoid this one. It's been packed every hour for the last couple of weeks.
I always knew I was going to ask if I could be close to the door, so it wasn't like I was in the middle.
Morrigan also looks in, and it's just like,
she's really been looking forward to this.
Just offering you a little bit of aid.
Thanks. I'm sorry.
She looks back towards the young man who's like primed to take notes. Go ahead and roll persuasion with advantage.
Aw, hell yeah.
I tried to play up the sweet little girl, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, so let's see. Well, it worked this time.
It seems to work this time. As she's like, bless my heart. Looks back towards her son and is like, yeah, make sure you take notes on this one. People first. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Try and sneak you in. Come on. She slowly begins to unlock and open the door just this little bit. She's like, squeak in quickly.
Okay.
You and Morrigan move in. She's like, thank you so much. And the doorway closes. You've made it towards the back. You can see Jojo sitting in the aisle. And Killian and Vincent. Toward the rear, you enter into the sparse farmhouse, and the sound outside dies relatively quickly. Do you leave the door open, or do you close it behind you?
I think Vincent would close it behind him as quietly as possible. I do have a quick question. When the Siren people were talking and the humans were there, was any names? Did anyone say a name out loud? Because that would have been, whether it's in certain or not, something he would have noticed.
No.
Or the humans said any names.
No, there didn't seem to be any names thrown about.
Okay. Yeah. He closes the door.
You mentioned that the ground was like soft.
The wood itself almost seemed to be molded, relatively old, in almost a sense of disarray, and you can hear the mud mushing underneath it.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Okay. I wouldn't be able to try to determine where the goblin had gone, would I?
Go ahead and roll survival to attempt to track them.
Okay.
While you do not see any specific tracks with a 12, you do note that there is kind of a very well-treaded pathway through as you glance down toward the ground in these shades of gray in the darkness. You can see that there's just some worn wood leading over and around a corner. As you glance around, you can see that this is somewhat of a storehouse, large shelves that are just stocked with various crates and bags. You can see large barrels of what looks, you're assuming apple cider, off to the side that have just been prepped and prepared.
Okay. All right. In my head, I just say, I can't really. I mean, there's a path. Should we just take it?
You can, dear. You're invisible, but I'll try and take something a little bit more discreet.
Okay. I'll follow the worn path, I guess.
All right. Becomes very sparse in terms of movement. You see that these shelves are stocked as tightly as possible, barely a 5-foot space within the area. And as you're moving out and about with your guys' previous stealth checks, you spot off to the right, there's a small doorway leading into a room where you can hear, once again, that just Cernan dialect talking back and forth. And ahead of you, where the pathway leads, is a larger subsection of this warehouse with these kind of bay doors that have been opened and propped open. And beyond there, you can see a silhouette just at the edge of your vision, kind of toiling away and moving crates and boxes.
I'm gonna go closer to the warehouse, to the figure.
You begin to move forward. Vincent, what are you doing as well?
Is there any like hay bales stacked up or crates or barrels or things like that? Something he can hide behind, basically.
Absolutely.
So that if
all
these
around
certain
you.
people come out, he's not just being like, hello.
Absolutely. And with your I can absolutely take your previous stealth check as the best of your guys' current usage of this entire kind of just dive into this hidden warehouse section.
Yeah. So as long
slide it
as he can hide somewhere, that he would, and then he can peek out a little bit and just keep an eye on. Well, he can't see Killian. He's just he'll peek out to see what's going on if anything happens, but he's gonna hide and see if he can hear anything, like pick up more of the Siren conversation.
Okay. I will need you guys to both roll in this instance perception with disadvantage in the darkness. Yeah. You both pay as best attention as you possibly can in the dim lighting and the just incredibly tight corridors. But you find it very difficult, especially with the light dusting that's falling around you, obscuring the grays of this just pitch black dark vision.
Is there any way, like, for the perception to listen to them, would that still be a disadvantage too?
No, this is just for, like, if they open the door and begin to move through, you're trying to keep yourself, and you're trying to pay attention to everything that's happening. I will absolutely, a fair point. If you're just listening in, you can go ahead and just roll one more d20. Killian's is pretty sight-based.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't see anything, but you are able to hear the conversation as you attempt to pick apart words that you might recognize. So, Killian, you begin to move forward towards the figure. Your footsteps silent, you found the mush in the boards, and you begin to move in a way that is like finding the least worn of the areas, and you begin to approach them. Moving, just crates and bales, they look about, kind of grab a small crowbar, pop it into the bottom of a crate, and begin to open it. As they pop it open, you can see that the entire thing is just hay, and they reach in, and they pull out a small vial, look at it, put it back in, reach in, just check that nothing's broken. They do not notice you. You are kind of hidden off to the side, completely obscured, as they go about their work.
Are the vials apple cider?
No, not from what you can tell. It has this like faint glint and a glimmer to it, like a pale yellow, and some of them are just this bright red.
Quick question. Is there light in the warehouse?
Darkness. Completely dark.
So I wouldn't be able to tell the color of the
fair point. Thank you kindly. You can see that they are different colors based on just the hue.
Okay.
Or not the hue, but the value rather.
Right. Okay. Well, I want to try to get a bead on this cloaked figure. Like, I want to try to like peek into their hood, but like obviously not in that like. I don't want to like just throw back their hood or something for invisibility. I want to creep close enough so that I can try to discern who they might be.
I'll need one more stealth check on this bold move.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let me
That's
ninja
okay.
again. Yeah.
Okay. You move forward, attempting to get as close down as possible, and you look upward, and you see underneath the cloak as they just wipe their face and stare down towards the work, somewhat exhausted. Pod just continues searching through piece by piece and just closes up the crate, knocks it, looks up towards the like 12 that are left, and you see he's just like moves over towards the next one as you shuffle backwards, and he just continues searching each crate individually for broken vials.
Okay. On one hand, not who I was expecting, but on the other hand, fits for his skill set. I'm actually going to like leave him be. I don't want to get him in trouble. I don't want to mess with what he's got. I'm just gonna. Am I still within range of telepathy? Well, let's find out. Killian just kind of like just thinks. She's like, okay, not Killig, a different one of my clutch mates. I don't want to get him in trouble. I'll talk to him later. Where should I go? And then just like hope that it's within range, and if it's not, then she'll just like, and she'll just start to go to leave, kind of repeating that message as she goes.
The range is 3 miles once I make contact, but it only lasts for a minute, and then I gotta re-up it. So, was that exchange of Killian walking over and then seeing Pod and responding more than a minute?
In this instance, is it a resource to accomplish this?
No,
We can just say
as
you've
long
been re-upping it regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So you heard the message.
Okay. Not sure. I haven't picked up much from the ones in the other room. Dialect is a little too thick for my liking. Vincent will try and like look. Is there any other direction to go in? He peeks out behind, aside from the room with the Cyrenan people in.
Perception with disadvantage.
$13.
There is one additional pathway, which is beyond Killian, beyond Pod, and in just the other side, there's 2 doors on opposite ends of this larger warehouse section where Pod is working.
There's a bit of an area past Pod up there. Do you want to scout that out? Come back?
Sure.
And Vincent will stay here and still try to see if he can pick up anything from the Cyrenan people.
Okay. You may roll your intelligence with pillow talk again. And Killian, as you begin to move forward, you stride up towards the doorways. There's 2 of them. Neither of them seem locked. One on the right side, one on the left, were closer to where Pod is working.
You said neither of them seem locked?
Neither of them look locked yet.
Okay. Left side near Pod, right side not near Pod?
Correct.
Okay. I'll try the right door.
Move forward, begin to open it. A small room, seem like you see seating. There's a few people here, drow, who are seated, wearing just like nice kind of nice cotton clothing, sitting on these just silken sofas that seem somewhat old. Leaning back, you can hear just the creaking, and as they look over and see the doorway slightly open, they glance forward to see who might be there, and then after a second stand, and they're like, fucking farmhouses. Move over towards the door and go to slam it shut.
Okay. Do I see any marks? Like ash bonds?
As they open the door, there is a sparse bit of candlelight on the interior, but it doesn't reach the doorway. As you look at them, you can see that there is a mark of a spider on the right side of this individual's neck who walked up towards you.
Yeah, I will, learning my lesson from our reconnaissance in the mansion, I will, like, make sure that I don't just stand there in front of the door in case they, like, burst through. I'm gonna, like, slowly try to step back as they approach, as long as I can get that peek before they do.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of safely move back as they close the door. You just hear them kind of, like, kick it once, and they're just like, God, ridiculous. Moving away, back towards the seat where they were previously seated. Both male drow. And as you find yourself here, Vincent, those two Cyrnan people leave. They open up the door once again. You can see brightly lit on the interior, and it's just filled with finery. Fine couches, a nice wooden dining table. The floor has been redone. Seems like a floor has been placed down on the wooden floor, and curtains covering the wooden walls. And then as they close the door, continuing to just talk out, every now and then, in common, they just, like, speak out a single word, and it's just, like, language that you don't understand through straight, and then it's just, like, Drow. Drow inkit en sie unterpai ein akati isintem. As they're just continually moving through, and then they end up saying bounty. They end up saying, shack. Loth. Monster. And then you manage to pull these bits of information. But from your previous perception check, or from your intelligence check, the Cyrnan you do not recognize.
Okay.
And then
We'll
they
just
make their
note
way.
that.
They begin to move up towards you. They move past you, and as you slink into the darkness, hidden, they exit the farmhouse. Kind of reaching the rear door, they grab the door, they begin to push it open, and then they stop, and they slowly turn around as the door is not locked.
Yeah, I was
And that
debating
is where
whether
we
or not I
will-
should have done that.
As we will take a little break, circling back through to see how this talk is going.
Quick question. Does Vincent notice that they paused at the door and are now turning around?
With your
If he
previous
can put
perception,
two
yeah.
and two together.
Yes.
Can I do something in the moment?
As they turn and begin to move about the area, the two of them, I'll give you a little bit of a scene first. They open the door about halfway and look out, and then one looks to the other and says, Farmer. It is in bed a farmer. And sends the other guy, who just nods and moves out and begins to move around. And then the second turns to look inward towards the farmhouse storage room. And now you have a chance to act.
Vincent's gonna turn towards because Killian's out of like a little bit further down the hallway down, dealing with the other people. Who's gonna look at her broodmate, is what Killian had called her, and in the back of her mind, to the best of her ability, Vincent's gonna try and sound like Killian.
Go ahead and roll deception. Okay. You don't have the actor feat, but it's quite good. Also, Vincent's. Oh, nice. Go ahead.
Little bit more feminine. So yeah, it's just gonna be like, hi, it's Killian. I need your help. I'm on a mission for the family, and I left the door unlocked, and if they find me, I could get in trouble. Please. Tell them it was you.
Killian, what the fuck are you doing here?
It's a mission. There's something weird going on here.
Just leave. Just get out. Get out of here.
They're already suspicious. They're coming.
Fuck, what are you doing here? And then after a few moments, you see the individual Loomies. These four little globules of light appear, and they throw them down the aisle. You see the long shadows being cast throughout the storage area that you're currently cloistered in, and as you are hiding in the corner, they move about. This will be a perception versus stealth.
Do I need to reroll stealth or use the previous?
This will
one?
be a new one because it's a new contest.
Both of us, right?
You actually don't even know that these people have done this. The light moving through, there's various different stacks of goods in between where you are and where Vincent is at current.
Do I think that Pog would be able to act? Like, would I get an advantage on this or not?
On the stealth? No, not at current.
Okay. I'm gonna add my once a day +2 from my ring.
Ducking in onto the inside, you tucker down and you begin to hide as the long shadows are cast across you. One light swoops by your face and you see the Cernan moving proudly through. It's got like a very thin mustache that carries through and around that kind of moves down and up into like half of the mutton chops and then shaved off here, the entire head bald. And they begin to move forward with certainty, kind of holding one of those dancing lights in their hand as they move. The others moving and stretching across the area and beginning to scour, but you manage to hunker down in such a way that makes it so that they don't see you. They pass through, they begin to move in, the lights flicker around, but Killian being invisible, they continue to look about the area. And at this point, as you see the lights begin to dance around the corner, Pod turns towards the entrance and just slams down the crowbar and begins to move in towards them. You kind of like over towards where the doors are at a fair distance. You see Pod approach them and be like, "Hey, fuck, I forgot to mention, I forgot to lock the door. I'm really sorry about that. I know that you guys are supposed to like check every now and then. I'm really sorry. It's not going to happen again." And I'm going to roll deception.
Could Vincent have inspired them?
No. Yeah, that one's a bit of a stretch. You see, as Pod is speaking, the individual leans down towards him and is just like, "You monsters are known to lie, but this is bad. It's not even your job. You are trying to take the fall for who? The humans? No, I don't think so. That was what you have told me before. So, with what is happening to you now, you will tell me who is hidden here, who is doing what, and if not, who knows what will happen to your friends, You see Pod stop for a brief moment, and then kind of leans back, looks around. It's, shit. Do any of you do anything in this moment?
Does Killian start to notice what's going on, I assume?
I mean, Killian's trying to figure out why Pod is doing this. The Cernan,
Cernan, yeah.
Do they have ash bonds?
You have seen him cast a spell. You don't see any visible ash bonds.
Okay.
He's currently like holding up these 4 globules of light that are kind of now spinning around Pod in an almost threatening manner.
Okay. I'm going to attack the like not him. I'm gonna attack like an object next to him. Just like I'm trying to break the invisibility essentially. And I'm just gonna say it was me. I'm sorry. I came here to try to find work, and they wouldn't let me in, so I used magic to sneak in.
Pod closes his eyes and just... The Cernan stands up at full height and looks down towards you and begins to stride forward, and as they do so, we cycle back. We find ourselves within the talk. Candace, roll a Constitution saving throw to remain awake. Matilda, you may or may not be interested in this topic, so you have advantage on this Constitution saving. So Jojo, were you interested in this talk, or was it just
In apple breeding? No, no.
Yeah, you see this kind of like studious individual, a young man approach wearing a kind of this just crisscross double-breasted vest coming down in beige to very long pants that seem to be high-waisted. Wearing the exact same boots as everybody else, but that is about the only piece of his attire that seems to match, to conform to this standard around him. And as he approaches, he places down his books and very frustratedly begins to give this talk that is just very point to point. And at some point halfway through the talk, he's just like, and as I said yesterday, and an hour ago, you can see that as we point up towards this, and he's just this incredible degree of frustration. No exuberance about this as he just begins to recite the facts one after the next. Like 25 minutes pass. You can see during this talk, people are just sitting, again, just patiently looking upward, holding their cider. People toward the back have kind of placed the cider down and are just waiting. And you can hear some murmurs just being like, oh, that's interesting. And like, do we drink it? Someone in the back's just like, I heard it's supposed to aerate for a while first. Oh, fancy. But the talk continues. Do you guys do anything at current during this talk?
Have the people in the front started drinking it?
No one has taken a sip of the cider yet.
Yep, Matilda, you go.
Matilda would actually probably be interested in it because they're talking about like crossbreeding plants, and Matilda is interested in poisons and herbs and things like that. So it's probably interesting. She probably would take down a few notes. She would take note of when people start drinking their cider and would get because she has those like empty vials in her bag. So she probably would get one prepped in her sleeve, open and ready to go, so that she can pour some of the cider into her vial.
Okay.
Eventually.
Okay, gotcha. And you've been kind of sitting here. You see Morrigan sitting, holding onto the cider, and just looking at it from different angles as it sparkles. She like aggressively shakes it, and a little bit spatters out and hits the ground, and you can see that just like sparkle like dust fly up out of it. It does look good, I'll give them that.
And I do take some notes because Matilda's all about them notes.
As you guys continue to focus in on the event, you see ushers continue to move through and look down towards your guys' drinks, one after the next, and are just like pointing at someone, thumbs up, pointing at someone, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down, as they just begin to examine it. As they begin to move towards the back, you see the people at the front slowly begin to like look towards and take small sips, and then you see, as they begin to reach you guys, they look down at your cider, and they're just like, just one moment, and they begin to shake it. You see Morrigan's begins to light up for yours, and as they shake your guys', it just begins to glow this pale blue, and they give you a thumbs up. You see the people around you begin just taking tentative sips, and you just hear this just resonant throughout the entire chamber, just like, sigh of relief as they begin to take sips. Morrigan looks down at hers and is like, thank you, and then just kind of, very good.
Wait, did you say that ours was a different color, and they've been doing like thumbs up, thumbs down signals to people?
Looking to each, and being like, you can drink now, you can't drink yet. But you see as they begin to like handle yours and shake it, and it begins to change into this kind of like bright blue bubble. At that point, they give you a thumbs up to be like, you can drink now, and just move aside to the next people. They're not like waiting to see if you chug it or anything.
Okay.
Are they watching us drink it?
Nope.
Okay. I take a moment if I feel like they're not watching to very discreetly pour it into a vial.
Go ahead and roll stealth.
Oh no. Ninya.
It's like barn flooring.
Oh,
like
Ninya didn't
like
work.
dirt.
What the heck? I hit Ninya. Okay, hold on. Let me try again. You can keep that one if you want. I just want to...
There we go.
Okay.
Ninya? Perfect. Nobody seems to notice you. You kind of pour it in.
Mm-hmm.
You see the blue kind of bubbling, and then you just slip it back down into your cloak, vest, shirt.
Mm-hmm.
As we look onward, you see the individual continuing his talk and then hitting point for point, and it hits about the 35-minute mark. And at this point, this is where the Killian and Vincent in the back begin to get kind of roused. As Jojo, you see the individuals just like, And I managed to save you a bit of time. Closes the books, begins to prepare them, throw them into a small satchel at his waist, and says, "See you in 20 minutes. Farewell." And turns and begins to leave, and you see people at the front be like, "What about the draw?" And he's like, "Someone will be out shortly for the draw. Thank you." And turns and gets the F out of there. After about 5 minutes, the well-spoken individual from the beginning approaches and says, "Now, I'm sorry about that, folks. He seems rather tired, but wasn't that riveting, everybody? Come on, let's just give a hand. One more hand."
As we're all clapping, JoJo's just gonna like nondescriptly dump her drink on the ground.
You dump it on the ground, it kind of immediately settles into the dirt, and that fizzling kind of just dissipates and just spreads out underneath you.
Great.
And
Can I do a roll stealth or something?
As people are kind of just going ham right now and focused in on just those who had been waiting or just chugging their drinks, looking at the base in order to try and get, and just the entire room has this look of satisfaction on their faces. Matilda, you've poured yours into the vial. You got like this little bit. What do you do with the rest of your drink?
Is there more still in it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Most of the glass.
How much? Oh shoot. Okay. I will dump mine on the ground too.
Morrigan follows suit immediately. And as people begin to stand and move up towards the front, you see this massive raffle thing as people begin to just scoop out the little token at the base of their drinks and begin to move up, forming a line. He's like, "Now all of you form a well-documented line for me, if you don't mind. Be prepared with your ticket." And upon his words just resonating out through the room, it's just like, vroom. Everybody moves into position. And the line kind of extends past you, Jojo, and begins to circle around the area as you guys also jump into line. Or do you jump in the line, rather?
Yeah, in the line.
All right. And we cycle back. We find now, Killian, you've called yourself out. And as this Syrian individual looks on towards you and just begins to stride forward, you see...
Can Vincent do a... since Killian dropped her invisibility, there's no point of him concentrating on it more. He's going to do a detect thoughts subtly. So he needs to hide just the material components for it.
Okay. Go ahead, and at this point, no need. They are not even looking at you. You're around the corner. So you subtly cast detect thoughts, and as you open your consciousness, you hear... as you get this person within your line of sight, you begin to hear just the surface thoughts of like, "Another one would not hurt. That's fine." They begin to move in. They're like, well. So what do we have here? Killian, you see behind you, Pod is reaching over and grabbing onto that crowbar and looking at you for a brief moment. And then he like struggles with the thought and just lets go of the crowbar. Brings his hand over, looking with just this pained expression on his face.
Sorry, there's just a lot of people don't want to talk to me. I'm really good at work. I mean, I picked the lock. That's something, right?
He leans down. He pod a vial. Pod's like, "We don't need to pod a vial." He looks at you, Killian, and just you can see it's just something. They're just being torn apart. Just this very clear look on his face. And he reaches into the box and pulls out one of the yellow vials.
Can I detect thoughts to Pod as well during this?
Absolutely. As you shift your focus, Pod, roll a fate dice.
Me?
Yes.
19.
Pod is sitting there thinking, "Fuck, Killian, why now? Why here? God. I can't betray Killian. We're so close." I'll just give her the yellow one. He hands over a yellow vial. You can see now in the light that is being cast from these dancing lights. And the Syrian grabs it, looks at the yellow vial. Very well. Pops it open, leans down towards you, and puts on a crocodile smile.
Can I shift back to the creepy Syrian dude now and see if he's thinking about what this does?
I think his thoughts now are, "It's going to take a while to get this one into the carriage, but I will just have the goblin do it.
He hands the vial down to you and says, if you wish to join us, there is a little matter of making sure we can track your movements. This vial here is just that concoction. Only lasts 24 hours. But we will be able to know if you have our merchandise on your person, where you are, when you are. It's just a precaution, you see. So if you are looking for work, and I know you can be desperate, drink this. And he hands you the vial.
All right. Without a second thought, Killian grabs the vial, chugs it.
How close is Vincent? Is he within 30 feet of them?
With your previous stealth check, you could be safely. You're confident of that.
Can I shape water the liquid in there?
Ooh.
It's only a semantic material. There's no verbal or semantic component.
So, it's somatic material?
Just semantic.
Gotcha. Just somatic. Wow.
Yeah.
You reach forward and you begin to shape it. This is
as Killian, I'll just describe what I want to do. As Killian's drinking it, he's going to kind of shape it and try and turn it as translucent as he can and just have it slip around and down so she doesn't actually like drink it. And then the back of Killian's head, Vincent will whisper, "Don't drink it."
Roll a
just
Arcana
pretend
check.
you drink it, kind of.
This will be Arcana versus Perception.
Arcana versus Perception. Okay.
There's like, why is your back so wet? It's really nervous.
Well, it's probably. I only figure like it's a small vial. Like you get a little like liquid on your shirt. No one's gonna see it.
A little doable.
Be good.
Yes.
21.
These the rolls today, you guys. You and your missions always on that success. Killian,
Very
the
simple.
liquid begins to move out from the vial and begins to move down. Do you drink it or do you not?
Well, my intention was to drink it, but if
Vincent just tells
is
you
like,
to pretend to drink it.
is like pulling the water out and around so that I can't actually drink it, then I guess I can't. And Vincent did warn me, so I'll go to like start drinking it, and kind of like cough a little bit, but then like try to pretend to continue drinking the vial.
Okay. As you pretend to drink down the vial, roll deception. And then the individual is watching intently.
Oh,
The wicklet turns translucent and begins to move out the side. You can feel it almost moving along the side of your mouth and like dissipating off into the open air. 10
What was that?
deception.
Oh,
Huh. Okay, 10.
ninja.
I don't know why that was a ninja. That's
What
okay.
did she roll?
A 10.
10.
And as they look towards you, like watching intently, liquid passes away. You begin to cough and sputter. They reach forward, they place their hands on your eyelid and begin to open it, inspecting your eyes, and they're like, it's already so yellow, I can't tell. Pod, hold this one down.
Well,
Pod's
you know,
like,
if I go into his thoughts, what are they saying?
Of which of the two?
The dude when he was inspecting his eyes. I just wanted to see if there was
Yeah.
anything more.
No, it was exactly as stated. He's just like, you can never tell with these fucking monsters. A little bit worse, actually. And then as Pod moves over towards Killian, it's like, Killian, just get down. Grabs your arms and then places you down on the ground. How are you currently acting?
Flops. Killian is just gonna be very like submissive. Just be like as soon as he like goes over, she just like kind of like plops onto her butt and like lies back down.
In the back of Pod's head, he's gonna hear Vincent speaking. I'm one of Killian's family members. Tell me how this is supposed to go down, and I can give you the information. Don't speak out loud.
I'm I ain't good at this. Out loud, he says, all right, I'm gonna go put her on the carriage. Sudan's like, it's finally some fucking initiative. And then, yep, okay, just going this way. Pod, lock the door on your way out. Yep, I will. It begins to move over towards you. Vincent in his head, he's just like, get out, wherever you walk, get out.
Yeah, Vincent will stealth with him as he goes.
All right, go ahead and roll one last stealth check. with advantage because Pod's kind of drawing attention actively.
Whatever that roll was, it is what it is.
The Cyrenan looks back towards you, and as you begin to move in an attempt to get towards the front as fast as possible, the doorway in front of you opens as the other Cyrenan begins to return. Looking towards you, in a brief moment, you dodge to the side with immense speed, and they move forward, and the two begin to congregate in the other room as you guys exit the farmhouse. Pod brings you... you see those two humans previously just standing with a small handful of food as they look towards you and are like, I'm not asking any questions. Like, yeah, that's a fucking good idea. And then Pod brings you back towards he leaves around the outskirts of the farm and makes his way over towards the entrance where there's a small carriage offset to the side, looks like no more than a storage carriage. But as he opens it up, the entire floor has been padded and he just tosses you in, throwing you. You see that there's several humans kind of leaning back against the rear side of the carriage. Faint twitches every now and then, yellow crust at the outer edges of their eyelids. And then some of them, the worst one you see is this, no more than maybe, 20 years old, this young human, all human. This young human man sitting, but his eyes seem as though there have been small crystals forming on the edge of the tear ducts that are like pushing into the eyes themselves. And same with the mouth, just crystal formations. And Pod places you down in the carriage, turns around and sees the humans looking at him and just closes the door. Meanwhile, at the end of the talk, you reach the front of the line, Jojo and Matilda, and they're like, now, if you would please give me your ticket.
Yeah, here's the ticket.
Each of you roll a D100. Morrigan will roll one as well.
Oh, a prize!
Prizes. Such a different vibe between yours and ours.
Yeah, here, wait,
Like,
let me...
yeah, sweet, raffles.
Let me go.
3.
3. Oh, Ninja Hunter.
Got a ninja. Ninja that. Wait, no, you don't need to ninja this one.
I don't think
No,
we
no.
can hear you, Tamara.
Sorry, do you want me to unninja that?
Yeah, do a non-ninja.
59.
Oh, almost a good number.
The music shuffles over. So close. Got 10. As you... Matilda, he pulls out the 59, drops it in, begins to raffle. A small bauble comes out, and he's like, now congratulations. He hands you the small bottle, and he's just like, he reaches down and takes a large flask, and he's like, one whole bottle of the reserve for you. Now, if you find that to your liking, please feel free to come on down at any time. We have these talks. You can find some special reserves, and for VIP members, we have a getaway that takes you directly to where we make it itself. Now,
Wow.
I know now we're being too generous. You might think that. However, there is a small monetary cost, and if you want to come back at any time, you know where to find us. We'll be here. We're going to be opening up a storefront in the city rather soon, so thank you very much. Jojo, you approach. They begin to raffle off. They take. I'm afraid that's not a winner, young lady, but feel free to come back anytime.
I never win.
Well, with that
7 times the
attitude, that
charm.
seems difficult. You can maybe just chip up a little bit. Maybe come next time. You might just win another one.
7th time's the charm.
You've been here 7 times already, have you?
Love this talk. It's so good.
I'll tell you what. He reaches down and grabs a bottle, and he hands it to you. For you.
Oh, thanks.
Now again, remember, if any of y'all are interested in taking a small tour, VIP members only, we might be able to facilitate that.
How do you become a VIP member?
You just have to visit about 7 to 10 times on the talk. Sit in, mingle a little bit. Looks towards Jojo as he said 7 to 10. And he's like, we aim more towards 10 than 7.
Okay.
He nods. Now, thank you all very much. Next, Morrigan goes up, dressed as his half-elf, and he's like, spins it, grabs the thing without looking at it. He's like, I'm afraid that's a loser, my lady. Next.
Wow.
And then as you guys all begin to move towards the back, at this point, Vincent, knowing where Killian had been taken. Did you follow? I assume you followed after Killian.
Mm-hmm. There's these two humans. Does it look like they're guarding the cart, or does it look like they're just in the vicinity of it?
They're just looking towards the carriage, and they were doing so until Pod closed the door. You can see him kind of begin to just lock it up, and he turns and begins to make his way back towards the humans, who then usher him back.
I'll be like, is there any other way to get into there? Secret hatch underneath?
There's like a viewing window from the front.
Do you think Killian would fit through it?
Probably not, but I mean, you could just break her out or something. Just, might be a better idea to keep her in there. I don't know, just do whatever. I'm washing my hands.
Some muddy water. I'll say that much.
I'm washing my hands. Over and out. I don't know how this works.
And he just walks away. The two of you, Matilda, Jojo, well, the three of you, and Morrigan have now congregated to the front of the farmhouse, and Vincent, you are looking onward towards Killian in this carriage. Killian, in the carriage, you are looking around and seeing all of these people. I would say, let's go ahead and roll another spotlight if you guys don't want to join back together again.
I just have a couple questions and things that I want to notice, but otherwise, yeah.
This is like the perfect time to roll those low numbers. Get them out of the way. Jojo, you were up first. What do you do?
Yeah, Jojo is probably gonna head outside and sort of wait by the entrance and meet up with Matilda and Morrigan. Morrigan, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Just a half-elf woman as far as you can tell.
She's just holding her little jug of juice. Is this stuff also visibly magical, or is it the non-magical?
Visibly magical. It has these little flecks, but it's not like that bright blue concoction.
Hey, this is transmutation magic on it. You guys didn't drink hers, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. It's me, Morrigan.
I know. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. No. Fuck no.
Okay. Good. I don't know. It seems weird, but I mean, if it was transmutation magic, it could have actually been anything, or it could have just been to make it look cool. But sort of doubt it.
Yeah, me too. People are kind of freaking out in there.
Have you guys seen the others?
I haven't.
Maybe we should just make ourselves visible so that they know where to find us.
They went around back.
Right, yeah. Okay, want to take a look back there?
You're not supposed to be back there. Just hold on a sec. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
And Matilda, what she wants to do is she was looking in to see if there's a pattern between the people who are winning, because they very quickly did that with the half-elf. The half-orc didn't win. The human won. Is there something going on here that looks a little bit hinky?
I think you don't need to roll on that one. With your passive investigation, you take note that a fair percentage of the people who won were humans, and those who did win were typically more of the people who seemed very, very, like, petite, with that kind of just jittery movement.
The thumbs up and down, did that match who was winning?
It did not.
Okay. Was there a pattern with that, or?
It just seemed like whether or not their drink was, like, prepped and ready to drink.
Go.
Okay.
Matilda wanted to ask who, like the person that was up at the front, she wanted to ask, who's the person that was presenting? I really like their work.
Who did you ask this to?
The person that's handing out the prizes.
The dude at the front was that person.
Was the one that was speaking? The one that was giving the talk?
lecture?
Yeah. She wants to know who the
you mean
lecturer is.
the kind of just done with it looking human?
Yeah, TED Talk. I want to know who
He
did
left,
the TED Talk.
right?
He left previously, yeah. But
Yeah, she's
asking
asking
someone
for her
about
name.
him is totally fine. We go ahead and scroll up for that.
What's the name of the person that gave the talk? I really like their work.
Oh, he's been here for quite some time. He's somewhat of a little scholar individual. He's been around not too long, but he seems to have some wacky ideas on breeding apples. Some people say you don't even need to use nearly as much water as this individual seems to think, but hydroponics. Devil's work. His name is Lincoln. Lyncon. Last name not known.
And when Matilda was doing the talk, did his work seem like he was applying it to apples, but it was like for other nefarious purposes? Like, is it like gene splicing? Is he like doing like weird hinky dark shit? Like, it's just like apples, but really it's like
It just seemed
Apples.
science. It just seemed science from your understanding of it and your adept understanding of kind of the newer methodologies that have been moving throughout the city and tech. Just from your general study, it seemed like good ideas that are like, yeah, of course that's common sense. But some of them are like, oh, wow, like a whole system for moving water that efficiently. That's interesting. It seemed like it could be applied to a lot of things, but not like, and this is how you grow a demon.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Then I'm done. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I asked those questions.
Yeah, no, for sure. No apologies. And then as we circle about, Killian, you find yourself within the carriage.
So I would like to cast 2 spells. So I'm going to cast Disguise Self on myself. I'm going to look exactly the way I do, except I'm going to add little like crystals and like pretty much like the same kind of crystals that I'm seeing on these people in like the corner of the eye, and like make my eyes a little bit more yellow. The second spell I'd like to do is I would like to very gently and very slowly approach the one that has like the really bad crystals in the eyes. And I will grab up my calipers from my backpack with a little pearl clenched into them, and I'm going to start casting Identify, not as a ritual. And that'll take 1 minute. But if I hear like the door like unlocking, then I'm gonna just throw myself like backwards and just do the little twitchies.
Okay. So as you cast Identify on the individual.
So that's a great question, because I need to determine whether I'm targeting the creature and seeing how they're being affected by magic, or on the crystals themselves to figure out what they actually do. And I don't know which. I think Killian would choose the crystal.
Okay. As you kind of like pull one of these just small, like just crystalline growths out of the corner of this individual's eye, you pull it. You see them like.
Sorry, I don't want to pull it out.
Okay, just touching.
I just kind of like peel the eye open a little bit, and just like I'm tracing patterns on the crystal itself. I don't know if removing the crystal would harm him, so I don't want to do that.
You take note that the eye, as you kind of cast this spell, almost like this faint light glows, and you see the pupils incredibly slowly react to that light in just this very, very poor and slow fashion. But as you cast Identify upon the crystals, there is no spell that is affecting these things, but they seem to be producing a natural divination magic.
Okay. Do I learn its properties and how to use the crystal?
No, it's not a magic item per se. It's just it in of itself seems to naturally be producing some kind of magic. As you look at it, it seems like a natural formation of some kind. It seems almost alchemical in nature due to your proficiencies.
Gotcha. So there's no specific divination spell.
None.
That is being. Okay. Divination. All right. Well, assuming that has happened and no one has come to the carriage, Killian's just going to stay put. She doesn't want to get Pod in trouble, so she's going to stay in the carriage until something else happens.
Okay.
She's not going to try to escape, because if she escapes, then Pod didn't do the thing that they told him to, and then he's in trouble again. So it's kind of just like the whole thing.
Yeah, and as we cycle through, Matilda having asked the questions that you were interested in previously, Vincent, you find yourself at the carriage on the outskirts. What do you do?
Is there anyone around?
From where you are, there's very few people, but they're kind of moving through. You can see your party making attempts to be visible on the other side in front of the farmhouse.
Okay. They're too far away for his telepathy to work, but he'll can he cast a spell without being noticed? Do you think he is comfortable
Yes.
enough to feel that?
Yeah.
He will. Is he within 120 feet of Jojo or Matilda?
You can get there relatively quickly, but you would have to leave the carriage.
Okay. I will. If I feel confident I can get back, I'll. Killian, are you there?
I take it.
The
I
back
get
of your head. Oh wait. I just need to check something before we go through with this. Okay, I need to be able to see them.
It's possible to look into. It's other than the front slot that Pod mentioned. This entire carriage is pretty sealed.
Okay, if he can look in through the slot without being noticed. There's
Yep.
no one walking.
You approach. You go. You grab the slot. You slide it open. You look in. Carriage is empty. Actually, your passive perception is high enough that you look into the carriage, you see it empty, and then you see the interior waver as you see faded individuals on the inside.
Okay, you'll spot Killian, and then in the back of your head, you'll hear him. Killian, over near the front. And if you turn around, you'll just like wave a little bit. We need to get you out of there.
I don't want to go. If I'm not here when whoever those people are come back, then Pod's gonna be in trouble.
We're gonna take you to who knows where, and we're gonna lose you. We don't know where you're going.
I mean, this could be where they've taken Killig.
I don't know if we'll be able to track the carriage once it goes. I'll go get the others and we'll discuss.
Hey,
Something happens in the meantime.
there's a bunch of people in here. They're not doing well.
I see that.
They're
Seems to be majority human.
they're growing crystals in the corner of their eyes. Seems like some kind of alchemical reagent. It gives off divination energy.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. They mentioned it was something to do with tracking people, but it also makes them subservient, it seems. Either way, I'm glad you didn't drink that. Let me go get the others. Stay put, and no offense, Killian, but if Pod and your broodmates are doing this to the humans, it's not a good thing. I'll shut the door.
As you stand, now at the front of the carriage, you hear footsteps beginning to approach from the left side of the carriage towards the farmhouse.
Can you try and like duck under? Like,
roll dexterity.
17.
You duck underneath the carriage, lickety-split, and as you find yourself underneath, someone gets up on top. You feel the entire carriage move. Killian, as they look back, they see the doors closed. They slide it open, take a gander inside. As they do so, you see this just small strip of a person's face, incredibly fair complexion with this kind of like yellowy orange tint. And as they stare in towards you, just these piercing eyes. Like a hawk. Like bright green. Greener than you've ever seen a human's eyes go. And then they just slowly close it again. Turn back, lean in towards the horses, and just... as Vincent, underneath the carriage, you cannot see who this individual is, but as they begin to pull forward, the carriage begins to leave the farmhouse.
Vincent will distance cast message, because the carriage is moving, so it's somewhat loud, I'm assuming. He's going to grab the underside of the carriage to stay on, if he can. He's probably done this in his youth here and there. And he's going to distance cast a message to Jojo. 240 feet. Can he reach them?
From where you are currently at the edge of the farm? Yes.
Okay. And in the back, and you'll hear, we're on a carriage run back. Killian's trapped inside and they're leaving. So we either can get her back, but her broodmates seem to be a part of this in some sort. I don't know what's going on.
You have the sending stone. Get word to Dad. Which way are you going?
What way are we going?
North over the bridge that you guys had previously crossed.
At the very end, he'll be like, "I can't send this again. Get closer." So he can't respond until you get closer, and he'll also send a sending message to Dad or to Lavos.
Okay.
Jordan's gotten used to calling him Dad.
Like, Dad!
Dad! God!
What is your
really
sending?
awkward.
Dad, God!
It'll be really awkward when you and Lavos and Ron are in the same room and you call him Dad, and Ron's just like,
I mean, Jojo's
Oh,
used to
okay,
that probably. Jojo's got
No,
so
dude.
many dads.
I think at this point it's just a matter of inflection. If you're like, Dad, then you know Ron just sits there continuing to read the paper.
Yeah, Ron would know. Ron would know.
It's insightful.
Do I think it would be faster to go and intercept down this way and meet them in LaRue's district?
Roll with dragon chess proficiency.
Okay.
Wow.
Paige, you said it was heading north, right? Into
It's
what
heading
district?
north into LaRue's district. Jojo, you anticipate that is exactly true. A straighter
Awesome.
shot there has never been.
Okay, let's go. She grabs the others. We gotta go. They're on the run.
Huh?
Morgan's like, okay, did they see any drow?
I don't know. They didn't say.
Fuck, I didn't ask you to ask that, did I?
No.
Okay, let's go.
What's to do with the drow?
Let's just shut up. We have to run. I'm not good at thinking when I'm run.
You shut up.
She just begins to run. You guys begin to make your way around. Roll dexterity. A carriage moves relatively quickly throughout the city streets.
Am I able to help with this with my weird ability to find secret paths?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say you just all have advantage while Matilda's with you, being like, no, this way.
Can Vincent send the sending message, or does he think it would be too loud? Actually, you can just send it in your head.
Yeah, sending you. That's totally fine.
Yeah, he'll send it to Lavos. He'll say, he knows that we were sent on the mission to the farmhouse, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he met with you guys.
Farmhouse, Syrian people taking humans, Killian trapped in carriage heading north to LaRue's district in pursuit, might need backup.
You receive. Very well. I'm nearby now. We'll look for carriage fast possible. In pursuit. I don't think there's very much more
Yeah, there's
information.
not much more that needs to be done.
He's going to
Dad,
basically
over and
begin
out.
to look around. Yeah. Stay safe, son. Stay safe, sport. As you
So proud.
Probably. He just finishes the rest of the message with a bit of schmooze. And as you make your way to the north, the rest of the party moves to the south with dexterity. You reach the center of Lure's district at the Silvery Moon Tower. And as a sparse market is kind of moving about in their midday commerce, you see that carriage kind of pull off to the side and begin to move further to the north. You guys have caught up to it. You are now ahead of it.
Vincent's gonna keep trying to send message because being at the bottom side of a cart, it's loud. I'm assuming he can get these off.
I'll say this, at this point, you have not seen Mo in a long time.
Not message.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to say that. But as you guys are moving, you guys
I
have,
never see Mo. He's invisible most of the time.
with the resources currently available to you, looking onwards towards this cart, following the cart in the future would be difficult, but that is the only hurdle in front of you right now. Because this carriage is moving at a pace faster than you guys can comfortably and stealthily follow. But as you look around the market, the carriage begins to turn. You have maybe a few minutes in order to gain any kind of way to follow this carriage. What do you guys do?
Hold on one sec. Wait. I'm just trying to I'm trying to figure out how far Hex is. Wait.
Hold on just 1 second. I'm just trying to fuck.
I know. No.
Oh, are you gonna hex a horse?
Yeah, I'm either gonna
Hex
hex
a
the
horse,
horse.
save
Yeah.
Achilles.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if hexing the horse will do. It won't affect his speed. Even if you do it to dexterity.
No, and it lets us track them.
Oh,
No, it
that's Hunter's
doesn't.
Mark, isn't it?
No. Even Hunter's Mark doesn't allow you to track them.
It just
It
gives you advantage on checks to attempt
Hex
to track
doesn't
them.
allow you to track it.
Well, Tamara's looking that up. Could Jojo? There's like some marketplace stuff around here, like a cart full of cabbages, possibly.
You know your LaRue's district.
Yeah, and then JoJo's gonna like make a show of like knocking over this carriage of cabbages and like sort of block off the path of this carriage that's
Hold
covered
on,
with
I am gonna hex one of the horses, and I'm gonna give them disadvantage on dexterity checks.
Ooh, okay. Do you do this stealthily?
Do I knock over the carriage stealthily?
Oh, I would say not the carriage. As you knock over the carriage, Matilda, roll stealth with advantage to attempt to obscure the spellcasting. Or you can cast openly in the open air and see what happens.
Well, because I'm allowed to be 90 feet away, so if we're not like terribly close, there's no reason why I couldn't like boop down an alleyway.
For sure.
But,
As you find your way into an alley and attempt to stealthily cast this, go ahead and roll stealth with advantage.
Okay, hold on. Ninja. Stealth. Advantage.
You see a small group of silver-clad knights rounds the corner and looks in towards you for a moment, and they say, "Are you in need of aid? You seem flustered."
Sir, I think something and it went down the wrong pipe.
Very well. Continue. No, actually, don't feel better.
Do you want me to roll deception?
No, at this point, they're just like, all right. They're not going to be like, wait a minute, you look rather parched. You haven't drank in months. No, you're totally fine. They turn and continue about their daily business. You have successfully stealthily cast this spell, and as the horse kind of moving forward just begins to nicker, continues to move up towards the top. Jojo, you slam into this carriage. He's like, my cabbages!
Oh, no,
as you just knock them all over the ground.
I gotta go. I'm late. I'm late for a thing.
No, you will fucking pay for these! As he goes to stop you. No! Thief! Maybe! Runs and tries to apprehend you. You see the carriage kind of, at this point, the individual at the front wearing a thick kind of cloak over their face, relatively hidden, attempts to pull back on the horse's reins, and the horse just moves forward. As it sees the cabbages like dropping in front, it just begins to freak out and dodges upwards. Disadvantage on this dexterity check. I'd like to do something. Absolutely.
Well, he sees these cabbages going down, and he hears Jojo yell out. He's going to cast Mold Earth on front of the wheel and make it like hit at a certain angle, and hopefully crack and break it.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, I was gonna try and snipe the wheel too with the firebolts. So.
It's a little more noticeable.
More subtle.
Yeah, that was.
I know.
That was fun. As the wheel moves in towards this dense earth, it just begins to crack down, and as you create this difficult terrain, it rears off to the side. Killian, on the inside, you can feel it. Some of the humans just slam forward, slamming their heads into the wooden ground and do not move, just maintaining that faint twitching. And as you, sitting on the inside, the carriage knocks off the top of the wheel. It slams into the ground. It does not break, but as it just begins to fall off to the side, the individual reaches a hand down, grabs onto the moving wheel, and you see them just, Eliante! And at once, the wheel begins to pop back into place. As he casts Mending off to the side, the horse like jumps backwards.
Mending takes a minute.
Yeah,
no, he can't do that then. Okay, he reaches over to the
Oh.
wheel and tries to grab onto it. I'm going to roll athletics check in his
I
mistake.
was like, if this isn't Mending, he's got some crazy tricks, but Mending does take a full minute to cast.
No, that was straight up Mending. So as he reaches in, he tries to grab it, and he instinctually attempts to cast. The wheel continues forward. The wheel then kind of buckles off to the side as the horse rears up and slams down into the cabbages, just knocking the rest of the cart, slamming it in half with its failed dexterity check, trying to stop and avoid this. As the entire cabbage cart explodes, the guy's just like, oh no! It begins to move in. The individual at the front like pulls back their cloak, and you see a just gorgeous looking elven man who just takes a step off, and the human just stops for a brief moment, looking in as though he's just seen an alien. He moves up and says, "Move this cart." The human, like taken aback and not knowing what to do. Jojo, you managed to run off at this point in time, having to get to your late meeting. And as this entire thing happens, you kind of skirt around the corner outside of sight.
I'd like to try and find a stable with like some kind of mount that we can rent very quickly.
Can I move my hex onto the dude at the front and make them have a disadvantage on charisma checks?
Does the target have to die before you can do that? Or you can do that whenever?
No, Adrian changed
okay,
it, so
cool.
Hunter's Mark and Hex we can move.
Or no, it's not charisma checks, it's charisma saves. Never mind, hold on. I'll keep it on the horse for now. I lied. Sorry. I always get confused. It's not Bane. It's Dex.
You begin to move about. You do see people on horseback, but as you approach like a random person, you're just like, where are the horses? They're just like, the Steadfast stables down near the Bright Bounty. Just in that direction, across the bridge, down a little way. Don't yell at me.
How Never mind. How much for your horse?
What? It's not for sale.
I got 15 gold.
This horse costs 75 base.
So we got a deal or not?
No. Roll intimidation.
I'm just.
They just mildly intimidated and confused by this just rushing half-orc. They spur the horse and are just peel through the market, slamming down on a few more cabbages as the guy just drops to his knees. The elf kind of looks down towards him, and as he's just fixated with this sharp glare, he's just like, fuck, of course, has to be the day, my day, of course it is. And he begins to move what remains of the cabbages out of the way.
Can Vincent see the elf?
From where you are, you can't see anything under the carriage. You can see feet.
Yeah, but he's stopped the cart now. He's jumped off. He's yelling at this individual. Could he get a peek out and then sneak back in?
Ooh, that'll need another stealth check, but I'll allow it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Alrighty.
Actually, I won't, because there's going to be times later where I'm going to be able to see him.
And your abs are coming in handy here, but there is a nice little kind of like under nook of these carriages that you can actually just straight up rest on. You're not holding on.
Yeah,
You're like
Vincent's
stuck
been
underneath and hidden in the
many
undercarriage.
carriages slinking along in his youth.
If there's one thing to know about me, it's that I've been underneath many carriages. The carriage eventually, over the course of about another minute or two, gets brought off to the side, and that human who had previously just been dealing with the cabbages was sent off by the elf. He takes a small coin pouch and just tosses it over as the human grabs it. It's like, what, good doing business with you? And then moves off towards the other side of the market. The elf moves in and begins to cast Mending on the wheel as it then fixes that little break, and he manages to get up on top of the carriage and is looking around suspiciously.
How long were we there for? Like 5 minutes or so?
There's a couple minutes in between here, so you guys have one more opportunity to attempt to find some way of managing to track this carriage.
Am I close enough to send a message? I'll ping out Matilda and then Jojo and see if I hit them at any point.
I think you guys are capable of coordinating for sure.
So what's the plan? What are you guys doing?
I was trying to find us horses so we could pursue, but I can't get hold. They're like behind us. So that's a bust.
I let Lavos know. Maybe he'll come with something. Can't think of anything right now. But.
What did Delavos say about our ribbons and stuff? What could they do again?
They allow us to pretend to succeed. So if we had, or if we had succeeded on a saving throw, we can expend it. The only use of it, it breaks or stops becoming magical, and it makes us so that the caster seems like we failed it. So it's good for like zone of truth and stuff.
But is that a way? Wasn't that a way for Lavos to track us too, or is it just to help? Just to help.
I think he said he could track it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a specific item. He can use basically spells like locate objects.
Yeah. So then Matilda would say, untie your thing that Lavos gave you and tie it onto the cart.
Oh dear, I'm staying with this cart. Killian's inside of there. Regardless, we'll be able to track it.
Yeah, so then that's fine. We'll be able to track them some way.
It only works within 1,000 feet, but we'll see. Just try and keep up, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry, I'll keep them with me. We can do this.
As the carriage exits out of LaRue's district back into Shantia's proper, through the Windhill district, it begins to lift itself up into the higher slopes and hills of the exterior of Amaranth, and you begin to see over the city walls into the halfling district of Perissa. Go ahead, Jojo.
Could Jojo try and hail a carriage? Like, taxi, follow that car.
I forget what they're called. I wanted to say shamisen, but I know that's not correct. One of the small one-person carriages where people are kind of moving about. Someone sees you kind of hailing over. Roll charisma. With disadvantage.
Okay.
I'll also update Killian on what's going on, so she's not worried. Oh, actually, I
Oi.
can't see her.
I want a better description of this cart in a second.
Okay. But as you hail the person, they stop, they look over towards you, and they bring themselves up to you, and they're like, you need to ride somewhere. You see, he's just got kind of like goods on the back, and he begins to move the barrels off.
Yeah, I need to go up this way.
Yeah, free gold. How far are you going?
Following that cart. Is that...
All right.
Yeah. 3 for now. Another 3 when we get to where we're going, yeah?
He looks suspicious, but when you say that, he's like, not gonna ask any questions. Hop in.
These 2 too.
Looks over. You see this, like, he's human farmer. As human farmer as you have ever seen. He's not wearing any kind of corn hat, but he stands and looks towards you, and he just shakes his kind of stubbled chin.
I don't.
Yeah, I think I can do that. I can do that. Jump in.
Okay, great. Get it.
Hurry up.
Okay.
It's getting away.
Yep. Let's go.
Looks towards. All right. Turns, places his feet to the ground, and with the massive amount of weight in this carriage, you feel the carriage almost just lighten, and he begins to just move forward at a relative speed. On the back of his head, kind of shaved off, is this small sigil of a cornucopia, and it just begins to enlighten and spread like vines across his neck as he begins to move, with just an incredible pace. So I need this individual to roll this. Excellent.
Matilda's gonna sit in a way that it'll be really easy for her to hop off, but I need to know what the cart looks like in a second. So the other one.
The other carriage, the one that you are currently following, is a nondescript wooden carriage. It looks like any other carriage you would see in the city. It doesn't even have any branding of windwalkers or anything like that.
Because there's carts that are like open top carts. There's ones that have like things over top of them. I'm wondering to know if I could sneak to the back of it and it's not going to be noticeable by the driver.
The rear of the carriage itself just has one small step, and it has 2 kind of doors that have been closed. It is a wooden walls up to a slanted top wooden roof, with no visible doors save for the one in the back with a padlock on it.
Mm-hmm.
At the speed it's going, it's unlikely you would even be able to make it up to the cart unless you were on horseback or something. You can. Because as you guys begin to move through Shanti's district and exits from the populated sector of the exterior, passing by farms and large kind of wooden walls and stone pathways, you begin to move into the older districts, and off to the side, Vincent, you begin to recognize the area that you had just previously visited alongside the Phoenix Roost Inn, passing over the Emerald Bridge at the Emerald Gates of the northwest of Amaranth. You begin to leave the city and skirt around the top right of the city until eventually you are over top of the Reverie, where you can hear fireworks and a constant stream of excitement and theater and culture passing through the city. And as slowly the sound of the evening comes to a just sparse close, several hours pass in your current transit. As
his illusions fade. He's Vincent again.
Continuing to follow the cart, this individual that is kind of following behind is like, oi, fucking 10 gold.
Yeah, deal.
I'm dropping you off right here.
No, yeah, deal.
Looks onward towards the carriage, and they begin to light a little lantern, and he's like, all right, that's easy. He begins to slow down and backs up a bit. So what family are you with?
I'll let you know next time.
Right, yep.
Wait, he's letting us off now, and then it's
No,
still 10
he's
gold?
continuing to follow for a fair
okay.
distance. And over the course of the next hour that passes, the carriage kind of moves into the forest and stops and begins to take a look around for any pursuers. Do you guys do anything to attempt to obscure this gander? Also on the interior, Killian, has there anything you've been doing during this time?
I think, like, given that it has been so long, her disguised self has faded, and she's just kind of like, I only have one more spell. She is this time going to try and like pluck one of the stones. If she thinks she can quote unquote harvest it without harming the individual. But given that these people just took like a roughshod carriage to the face constantly. I think she's probably like, I mean, they're kind of hurt and not able to do anything anyway, so.
You do see that there's some residue on the ground from the impact that they'd previously taken, but nothing like substantial. So as you go in to attempt to harvest them safely, go ahead and roll an alchemy tool proficiency check. This can be strength, dexterity, constitution, any of your choice, depending on how you want to accomplish this.
Can it be intelligence?
I think this is a matter of it's difficult with the body because you're in this moving carriage.
Gotcha. Okay. Then she'll choose Constitution just to remain as firmly planted and like do slow, steady movements. So this is an ability check with tools proficiency.
Nice.
Oh.
Adept. Beautiful. Steady hands of an artisan. You pull a small chunk of crystal out from the side of the face, and you actually see as you do that, that's the first time that the eyes kind of dilate quickly. They remain in this kind of stasis, however. One of them, as you are doing this, reaches up and places a hand on the side of your face, and you see just this like one tear roll down the side as they just continue to stare blankly.
I just kind of I say it's okay. We're gonna stop whoever's doing this. Just sit tight, and I just kind of pat their shoulder a little bit.
And as the carriage comes to a stop, as the carriage comes to a stop and they jump out, looking around towards the people as they reach the edge of a sparse forest, do you guys do anything to attempt to obscure your passage?
If I see their feet, I want to hex them.
Okay. You
Double hex.
How do you attempt to obscure this?
Also, no, actually, I'm out of those. I will just try to. I'll wait till they get a bit further from the cart. Then, yeah, that's good. And then see if I can get it off just stealthily.
They only go 15 feet from the cart. Not a distance that would grant you a particular advantage in stealth, but they can't see you. So really, you're only masking the verbal component.
Okay. We'll try to do that. I'll wait for maybe a bird to caw out or something. This place was creepy the last time I came here. Maybe it'll unsettle him.
Okay. I'll go ahead and roll stealth for me.
Oh, I clicked the ninja roll, and it didn't go through.
Ninja up.
Ninja has been failing.
I think I know why it fails. It's because I go to click the roll and leave the box up, and then switch to ninja. You have to ninja before the box is
first.
Always ninja first. As you
Ninja first, questions later.
Ooh, I like that. As you ask the gods for your potential in momentary stealth, you cast hex, and as you attempt
it will be wisdom.
You attempt to pull this just thread of the universe around you. The reverberation of the weave carries through. The individual stops, turns around and looks towards the carriage, and begins to move towards the carriage. The rest of you, off in the distance, you're maybe 200 feet away, off to the side in the darkness. They are no longer looking at you. They're now focusing in on the carriage as they begin to move off to the side. What do you do?
It's gonna look more suspicious if we stop. We'll just keep going and pretend like we're going on ahead. Just slow pace.
I do shove Jojo down because they've already seen Jojo because she ran past being like, ah!
Oh yeah, Jojo will.
What she looks like.
Jojo will move her hands around as the armbands on her shoulder sort of glow a little bit, and she's gonna cast alter self on herself and make herself look like a farmhand, I guess.
You mean disguise self?
It does either. I'm gonna do alter self. Maybe I should do disguise self. It costs less.
Your choice.
Oh, it doesn't have alter self. Why do I have alter self in my
I think it's from your
spell
mask.
list?
It's from the mask.
I'm gonna do disguise self. I'm gonna put the mask on.
The individual's like, okay, palanquin was the word I was looking for. No, even that's wrong. But you guys move forward in this rickshaw, thank you kindly. You move forward in the rickshaw as he sidles up next to the guy who raises a hand, and he's like, Coralon, guide me. Stops looking at the carriage for a moment, and now you see his feet stop in front of you, Vincent. Turn and frustratedly move over towards you, and he says, Halt! This forest is closed by order of Coralon. Make your way back wherever you came from. I care not for your reasons. No words. Go now.
This isn't Coralon's district.
You guys are like in the forests outside, north of Amaranth. This is definitely
that
not
Coralon's
Coralon's domain.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's what she says. She's like, this isn't Coralon's district.
Go. Do I need to repeat myself? And he reaches down to a saber at his waist.
Jojo looks to Matilda and Morgan.
And Vincent used this time to sneak out the back.
Roll stealth. You look towards Morrigan. Morrigan looks towards you and gives you kind of like a knowing look, and then like you look towards Matilda, and then you look towards the rickshaw driver who's like, no.
Do I get advantage?
No.
You have advantage on this. He's very distracted.
Matilda would be like, yes, because you're not making any sense. This forest is not Coralon's district.
Ten.
Oh, he's counting now.
9.
That's scary.
Oh,
8. And he just continues to count down. Vincent, you make your way out of the side of the carriage and around back. You are now.
I hear the
you are now out of
counting.
sight. You do.
And at this point, Vincent's a little perturbed by this individual. He looks good, but he's got to know his place. Can I stealth up behind him?
You can certainly try. That would be a new stealth check.
Okay, so like getting out of the cart on this side and like stealthing up behind him. Okay, another one. Would I also have advantage on that?
This time, no. Now he's on guard.
It's so like Coralon to think he owns every piece of land.
Roll initiative. Vincent, you begin to move back. His eyes dart backwards to take note of the fact that you're behind him. And as all of you begin to encircle this individual, you hear from the blade at his waist. It says, "Very well." And that is where
I did
we will...
want to do something. As Vincent, even if he was caught sneaking up behind him, as he started to count, Vincent was just going to be like 7 and like start like mimicking behind.
That's funny.
As they turn their attention towards the lot of you and begin to draw their blade. That is where we will end today's session. And where we will pick up next time. Thank you all for coming, and can't wait to see you next time in the Dragonleaf. That's our theme song. Till next week. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Ah.